All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We are back for a Sunday night edition of the REMINGTOM pod, and who would have guessed that it would have been a relief to not have the finals on in the background? Hey, yo, chat, it is what it is. The peak of the NBA season. Pause, the Spurs, Wemby, their first time in the playoffs, making the run all the way through the Western Conference, and we're just, hey, yo, after going down 0-2 in San Antonio, we're just a little bummed out about that. Hey, yo. So, I guess tomorrow night, we'll be back at it. It is what it is. I know the Spurs will be playing for their lives, obviously. I guess there is, some sort of chance, I guess, if we're just saying, there is that sliver of the pie chart. But I gotta say, the confidence level is pretty low at this point for San Antonio. And, just that environment of being in, I shouldn't, claim for all of San Antonio. I should say just for us. But, just the hostile environment of having to go into MSG for that first game and just how, historic that's going to be, how the vibes of that. I almost got to say there's just no way that San Antonio wins that game. It is what it is. So I honestly think the only way the Spurs get it to 6 at this point is if, up 3-0 New York, maybe they, for some reason, just kind of, and it would more so, I think, maybe the game 3 would just be such an emotional high for New York. And then again, you do go up 3-0 in the finals. There is that sense of New York, the first time back in the finals, and they're watching their team at the same time sort of claim the finals. So there is the potential, I guess, of an emotional crash in game 4 in a way. And then, maybe San Antonio would get the game 5 as well too, but I don't think that they would win 3, or they would definitely not, even a half delusional Spurs fan like myself, we could sit here and I think honestly say that, hot take, chat, the Spurs are not going to win 4 in a row versus New York. It took us those 2 games to realize that. No, but I'm just saying that's the only way I think this even gets to 6 is my point, and that would be maybe New York as well too, kind of mentally wanting to win the finals at home as well, if that would just play a factor. Again, you know that a team would never lose a game intentionally in the finals to quote unquote set themselves up for that type of scenario. But again, maybe there would just be a subconsciousness that would play into that a little bit. But again, obviously the series at this point, it is what it is. I think we can, we don't. I think as Spurs fans, we know about bringing out the final set too early. But again, I think it's a little bit of a different scenario. And like we were saying on a couple live streams ago, again, it wasn't they were bringing the production set out because the Spurs were up 20. Again, they were just trying to be, it was just good scheduling, trying to be on top of anything. Pause. It's just the fact that a team had a chance to win the finals in that moment. They had to be set up with the trophy. A team can't win the finals and they're like, "Oh, wait a second, where's the stage? Where's the trophy? This can't be ready." So, I don't know why. I don't know why they're making such a big deal out of it. Chat, hey, yo, I just saw a flashback of that. I just saw a flashback of, that 2013 era broadcast, the Miami State. Oh, chat, hey, yo. Hey, yo, what a basketball PTSD moment, I tell you. It is what it is. And I have been seeing, chat, this is us not talking about the finals, I guess. And I have been seeing some New York fans, and maybe we do need to address this as well, too, because I do also want to be, in some ways, do I want to be? I don't know. But, we do want to be celebratory of New York. I think, especially during the game, tomorrow, especially that first game back in New York City. And, again, I think it's a good story for sure. Obviously, the way Brunson, in the team building there, and he's a great superstar. We've been pro Brunson this whole time up until he started, killing the Spurs. It is what it is. But I've been seeing people as well, too, with the way Towns has been playing. And they're like, oh, Wemby's going to see Towns in his nightmares and all those different things. And Jalen Brunson is, and we're not, Jalen Brunson is awesome. So is it Towns? Towns is making us upset, chat? I don't know. But I think the thing that is bothering us a little bit about this whole matchup scenario, I don't know. But the thing is, the New York team is better than San Antonio right now. And it's yes, ultimately that does matter for the series, for winning the finals. You can't deny that. I mean, that's for sure. But, if we're talking about the best version of the team, the Spurs, I still think, is hopefully, hopefully, but, I would still think that the Spurs at the end of the day, in basketball talent, years down the road, whatever, is still the more talented team. Sometimes the frustrating part is the opportunity of the finals presenting itself when it does, because, again, are the Spurs, New York has never been in a finals as well, too. So, again, in some ways, it's like, are they, are they, the same amount of ready for the moment as the Spurs is? But that's just not true, because they're more veteran in the league. Brunson has been in some championship moments as well, too. Towns has just been around longer than Wemby has been in more big playoff moments at this point. But they're just more set for it right now than San Antonio is, and that is the frustrating part. And this is something that I want to look into as well too. Just going back and looking at some of the teams that lost the finals, but the teams that have gotten back as well too, and the teams that haven't. Obviously, there are super talented teams in recent history that didn't get back to the finals. Famous examples. I mean, we could name the team. Why didn't they get back to the finals? And then you look at it and it's like, oh well, there was this. Was there this major move that happened or whatever? Again, those are all things to look at. Don't trade Dylan Harper because you don't want to pay him. I don't know what the lesson would be there, obviously. But if we're looking back to the James Harden trade, but for again, the idea of the team just saying, like, because I was seeing a little bit of some quotes about this for Wemby as well too. We're not always as locked in like the press conferences and stuff, but I did see something just an hour or two ago, like scrolling through an ESPN article where it was like, I guess we could probably even pull it up here as well too and see what he's saying. Was it this article here? Are the Spurs cooked? Yeah, I don't think so. It was sort of Wemby gets his wires crossed. Yo, chat. Yo, I don't know if we'll be able to find it here. Oh well, but it was basically kind of Wemby saying that New York is going to be that this version of the New York team is going to be more desperate to win the title because this is like their only chance. And he's like, oh, we're a great young core. Like, we'll have more opportunities in the future. When I read it the first time was kind of the sentiment that I got from what he was saying. And again, it's almost like Wemby was, and so, it's like he's throwing shade at New York as well too, even when they're down 2-0 in the finals. And, in some ways, you need a level of delusional confidence to just think that you can still go out there and win 4 of the next, 6 games at this point against this New York team. But, still to not play with that level of desperation, but to also just, again, be at the point in the careers where they're at, where New York does understand the moment a little bit more. And I think Wemby doesn't even realize that he's saying that as well, too. He's basically just admitting, he's like, yeah, New York understands the moment. That is what the finals is. The finals is about playing, like, with the desperation. Like, you can't even get back. Hey, yo, it's like, Wemby, hey, yo. I mean, I'm stammering just thinking about Wemby not realizing it, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But still, again, that is the advantage of the league kind of lining up sometimes when it does for you, in a way. And I think, and again, if we're comparing him to OKC last year, because that's a rival as well too. That was even the part about getting the win in the OKC series is, now there is an individual matchup thing there that Wemby does have over Shea in that matchup and just that two franchise rivalry there. But still, the Thunder do have the title of this era. I guess that, San Antonio will probably still be chasing after the series. But, regardless, the matchup against Indiana, a more similar team, of course, to OKC in terms of that sort of championship experience. And then, Halliburton as well, too. Like, to give Halliburton his credit for the generational run that he was on in the playoffs, for one, of course, obviously the most major factor as to why, the OKC won the title. But not to, discredit their title, but to also, why Indiana's competition got compromised a little bit was, of course, the Halliburton injury in Game 7. But, Halliburton, again, even still is not quite the same sort of, I don't know what the right word is for it. I don't want to say prestige type of player, because that's a term that Sam's always used for players when they're in that title mode a lot, or they're in those title conversations. Because, Brunson would have been what Sam would have called, a prestige player. He's maybe not always, and obviously he's gotten to the point now where he is, first team All-NBA, MVP conversation guy. But, Villanova second round pick, sort of underrated guy in Dallas, but, constant winner. Like, that would have been sort of the prestige guy for, the guy that, again, is just finding himself in all of these, not finding himself, but, directly sort of causing all of these championship just scenarios as well, too. Or the quarterback as well, that maybe, like, Eli Manning would be like a prestige quarterback in a way. Like, again, he's not necessarily like the all-time great, talented, now we just have to diss Eli Manning here. Eli Manning sucks at football, but he wins a lot of games. No, that's not what we're saying. Eli Manning, some helmet here. Oh, look at that, chat. Hey, yo, testing 1, 2, 3. Look at that. We start talking about edited broadcast chat, about how the NFL might have edited some stuff back in the day, and look at that. We get cut off. Hey, yo, the NFL, you're not helping your case there. It is what it is. But good to know Goodell's in the chat. Hey, yo, shout out Goodell. IT, send him some merch. Hey, yo, can we get Goodell in a What would we do if Goodell was in a Rem Sam Pod hoodie? I don't know. We would definitely repost it and say, oh, Goodell, take it off. Hey, yo, we don't want that. Hey, yo, he should definitely, Roger Goodell should definitely not be wearing this hoodie. Hey, or we don't want to be a hoodie worn by Roger Goodell. Hey, I don't know what the pause. What's the right phrasing, chat? Hey, yo, it is what it is. But hey, yo, shout, what's this notification? Roger Goodell just left the chat. Oh, whoops. Hey, yo. Well, it is what it is. We tried, suspension incoming, chat. But what were we saying? Something about AI, Eli Manning, and something about the finals before that. Oh yeah, then that is the part, I guess, when we're thinking about, like, will this New York team be, like, in our nightmares for the future? Like, this series will be in our nightmares for sure. But I think the San Antonio fan base, again, is still not, like. And this is, again, maybe just us, this is the same disrespect that the Spurs are having for this team. But, again, just the games have been competitive as well, too. It's not like San Antonio couldn't have won. San Antonio hasn't played well, necessarily, and they still could have won both of the games in San Antonio. And, in some ways we could have argued as well, too, that this whole New York era, they haven't played well, and somehow this is still like a good team. But, again, the Brunson-Cat dynamic has definitely really figured out. Obviously, Brunson's just continued to elevate as a shot maker to one of the best in the league at this point. And the bench they figured out. And, Bridges and Anunoby, they kind of just became what they are. Like, they're still obviously really great players, but they're still, like Bridges is still not, like, the 20-point-a-game guy that you traded, I forget what even the Bridges trade was. Was it, like, those 5 first-round picks for Bridges? Like, there is still a world where, they have Durant in that spot. Or even Giannis. Like, they're, as scary as it is, could you have, with the salary cap, I guess, maybe not. But there is a world where just the statistical number from that player on the court is a little higher, or even the asset from the court there is a little bit higher, and even the dynamic of the team, I think, working a little bit better as well, too. But, still, again, obviously this New York team was, the most talented lineup in the Eastern Conference, and, still a really, really great matchup against this Spurs team. But again, I don't think it's not a nightmare scenario for San Antonio, because the nightmare is really how San Antonio has played themselves, more so than, again, the New York team just being this all-time devastating team. Like I was saying earlier, like, getting a basketball PTSD flashback to that Miami series, like, that is, hey, yo, chat, like, that is right there. That is a nightmare series. LeBron and Wade together on the same team. Like, no disrespect to Brunson and Townsend. I mean, the New York fans are going to be like, LeBron would never be able to do what Brunson did. I mean, in some ways that could be true, because LeBron would never take the pay cut. What does that mean? Of course, if LeBron goes to New York in that era, he's going there in a different salary cap time. So if he goes there with Melo, I mean, hot take. I think if LeBron goes to New York, they probably win a title. Even if it's a different, I think it could be a different lineup as well, too. If it's, hot take, if it's LeBron, Melo, and Bosh, is Dwayne Wade beating that team by himself in Miami? Chat, Dwayne Wade wasn't even really making the point. I know, Dwayne Wade won a finals by himself. We can't disrespect his career, but he did also, the Miami as a team, some of the Wade offensive stuff. Again, obviously, that type of scoring dynamic can yield interesting results when sort of the dynamic of the role guys around you is maybe not perfectly, symmetrical with what you're trying to do there offensively. But for, again, I'm pretty sure in 2012 that 2011 to 2014 run, whatever Eastern Conference team LeBron would have gone to in that time would have been the best Eastern Conference team, and especially if we give him Bosch as well too. But just think about it, like Boston for that one season just had a little bit of name value as well too. But again, that team was still at the end of the run. Like, with all due respect, we're not just, we're saying at the end of the run, they had a run. They were a great team. But it was that changing of the guard moment that had to happen. It would be like if we were trying to compare, Duncan and, Duncan never really got to compete against the Warriors in the playoffs. Ginobili did a little bit there with Kawhi. But if it was like Duncan and Parker and Kawhi going up against the Warriors, and it was like, could the legendary Spurs team step up one more time and get the Warriors? It's like, maybe, but also, Steph Curry at the peak of his powers is probably just going to cook a 35-year-old Parker. No disrespect to Parker, but Parker in his prime, it's probably different, it's a different story. Hey, comparing Parker to Steph Curry, IT cut our microphone. Okay, apparently maybe not as close as we thought, but shout out to Tony Parker. Obviously, we still have hope in the matchup. But for... what are you saying? For again, for that Miami team, that's a nightmare scenario. That's a team that I honestly can't even really believe that we were in Game 7 in some ways against. I can't even believe that we almost won against them in Game 6 in some ways. Like, it does obviously show you it's like the Spurs team was like a Disney movie, chat. You're like, what's happening? But in the next year, of course, the Miami roster was in a little bit of a different spot, so. Again, I would say that's a great revenge win to, I think dominate the way we did as well too, to really, pause like late, have a very, very convincing result there. And, again, really kind of just make the case that there is just no competition, at least in that series. But still, I'm just much more afraid, nightmared of the team, and maybe it's just the era of basketball as well too. I don't know, but again, I would even be much like maybe again, we're talking about one of the most talented on the court teams that we've had in this era, but I would still be more scared of that early edition OKC team than this version of the New York team versus again that sort of veteran version of that Spurs team. And that is the inverse of the matchup. And I guess, in some ways, maybe, is that an interesting comparison for this Spurs versus Knicks series, chat? I guess I don't know how to feel about that now as well, too. But, I mean, and again, those series were competitive. In some series, the Spurs won. In some series, the Thunder won. So I think, maybe the next time they, if this was like the next finals matchup or in the regular season matchups for him next year, like maybe the Spurs win that regular season matchup with the extra experience gained from this series. And it is a little bit like that Thunder matchup. Who knows? But I would just still be more afraid of that team. This is where I'm start disrespecting the Knicks. Let's give them more bulletin board material, chat. But like we said, we're already done. We're already cooked. We're mentally cooked, so for this series, we're already giving it a loss. So I guess we got to remember that this series is still 2-0. It's still a possibility. It is what it is. But it's just funny that I have been seeing that like Spurs. I did see one. I guess I've been seeing. I saw one post and that did get me fired up. I'm gonna see that post in my nightmares, but I'm not gonna see Towns in my nightmares. It was like maybe it's a pause as well too. Hot take chat. We're not gonna be dreaming about Karl Anthony Towns, but in our sports nightmares. Again, AO pause, but still, for the guys, let's just say hypothetically, there was a sports fan out there that was dreaming of these guys, and he did root for the Spurs. Like, like I don't think that Towns again is gonna be like in Spurs fans' nightmares. Like, Towns, again, pause, but Chad, I guess we can't really do like a guy like restless in his sleep, like. Speaking about dream talking, because that's gonna I think the audio of that's gonna be different, so we gotta IT might have to do a little editing there, I'm not sure, but either way I guess we'll have to see. Maybe we'll have to bring on like a theater actor. Maybe they could really get that down where you're like, oh yeah, that is somebody sleeping and dream talking. I don't know, because that's just a different noise than maybe some sounds that it would cross over with. But Still for again, I don't think Spurs fans are gonna be pause tossing and turning and being like hey yo, and just be like oh I can't believe Towns or like Hakeem versus David Robinson as well too. I wasn't even there for that series and I have bad dreams about it. Hey yo. I'm just like you're just like because that's the one where you go back and think the nightmare scenarios are the ones where you go back and think how could I have stopped this, not how did we not how did we not win this or whatever the opposite of it is. Again, Hakeem in the 90s, you just go back and go there's nothing we could do. There's nothing we could do. He's going to go out there. He's playing with especially that extra motivation as well. He's just going to cook. He's just going to cook David Robinson. And, unfortunately, with all due respect to David Robinson, hey, yo, chat, you want to talk about not being afraid of Towns? Can we get Towns against like an AI David Robinson right now? Hey, yo, chat, throw him out there. Pause. Let's see. David Robinson versus... I think David Robinson still gets 4 points. Game to 11, 4 to 11. Towns, respect. I would be respect. But David Robinson's like, obviously not in his prime anymore, but either way, prime David Robinson is just gonna cook Towns, Chad. He's just going to cook Towns. Now we're like going back into the legends. It is what it is. I guess yes, the all-time San Antonio team would probably cook up the 2026 New York team. That's for sure. But so would the 99 Spurs just in general. Just Duncan and Robinson alone. Like Brunson would do nothing in the paint. People think that Brunson would be switching Tim Duncan onto him and like, dribbling pause, like he's going to be getting past Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan can't keep up with Jalen Brunson. That's not true. Tim Duncan's going to be fine. Also, they had guys to rotate and, help defense. And again, David Robinson and Sean Elliott and, obviously guys we all trusted in the playoffs. But still, for that, that Spurs team would still probably be able to handle this New York team. I'm pretty sure all-time Duncan and David Robinson are the two best players in testing 1 2 3. That New York team was a little bit of a lower seeded team anyways. So an underdog team in a different type of way. And that is the thing to remember about this New York team is they were like a 4 seed in the regular season, and they are on a historic run as well too. So we can't sit here and say that they're not like doing historic things, but again, it's a different type. Like I'm saying, it's just a different type of nightmare scenario. Again, we got to get the Knicks fans mad now before we get into the game, because we'll try to be celebratory of Jalen Brunson and all this stuff tomorrow. While MSG's just, we're not wrong though. We're not wrong. It has disconnected a couple times, but I think if it happens tomorrow, again, I think it'll be because of the score, not because of the internet. But again, either way, and I'm not trying to say this to disrespect Brunson. Like, Brunson is a great player, and again, maybe Brunson still got another title or two in him. I don't know. Like, only I guess time will tell at some point. And there are the potential. I feel like it is maybe a little bit more common in the NFL though for the guy to have like the 30+ run, like maybe the quarterback, than it is to have I guess 30+ for the NBA player, but 28+ maybe would be a different way to adjust it, where the later half of your career you really emerge as like a first team All-NBA. I'm trying to think of like Pascal Siakam is kind of a version of that, where later in his career now he's obviously and it's like, hey, as time goes you get better on, but again it's like the real elevation from you were at this point in your career and Brunson did emerge pretty quickly as well too. Like once he started to get going and stuff as well. He was only in Dallas for maybe 3 seasons, so again it's still not like 8 years in Dallas and then all of a sudden he is in New York. But here, let me see if I'm right here with the thing. Oh no, yeah, okay, he was there. 4 seasons and then 26, but still I guess. He was 12th in MVP voting. New York right away, Chad, obviously embracing Brunson. 12th in MVP voting in 23-24, but didn't make All-NBA, but has been All-NBA second team each of the last 3 seasons. So, yeah, 27, 28, 29. So, and I guess, again, that's just you entering sort of pause, the prime of your career, obviously, like going back Giannis, a little bit similar as well, too, where Again, that handful of early years there, it was a little bit different. But I guess he was 7. Again, hey, Chad. Hey, and where does the time go? But seventh in MVP voting by year 4, and then he won the MVP by 24. So again, maybe around the same time for Brunson, but still he was in the league, a little bit younger as well too. So again, by 26 he was washed. Hey, he had won all his MVPs at that point, and he was I guess at this point now winning his finals as well too. And again, that is obviously something to remember for Wembanyama. A lot of these guys, again, even Brunson, winning the finals at this point in the career when they did. Tatum, whatever. And I think for Wemby, it's sort of the is he gonna win 5 whatever finals? It's like maybe just win 1 as well too, and we'll see how that goes. And maybe there will be an adjustment as well too of how we view sort of maybe the toughness to get titles. I'm not saying that in 20 years, it's like, oh, this guy with 2 titles is going to be better than MJ. But, LeBron, I guess, has, 4 at this point rings. So there's going to be, I guess, and it's not a compromise because he's made up the stats in the other ways. But, if the rings are that big of an argument for you in the basketball landscape of it, then, maybe there is a little bit of a compromise there if you are making that equal between Jordan and LeBron, or, obviously if you're not just making it equal between, Jordan and Russell at that point as well too, and just leaving Russell out of the conversation. Like, he so often does. Chad, we gotta start bringing up Bill Russell more often. Rest in peace. It is, obviously the, 11 titles, Chad, hot take in 2026, I think a little underrated. The 11 titles in 13 years, a little underlooked by some of the modern fans. We look back and say, oh, basketball is terrible. It's funny because and maybe, I don't, was Gillis talking about this before the finals or after? I think I saw this before the Wemby play, actually, that just happened in this last finals. But either way, I saw this clip of Shane Gillis talking about the Jordan game winner, which is why we watched it, I guess. It's like, okay, retro basketball highlight. We're locked in. But he was talking about the Jordan game winner, and it was like, okay, I mean, not to say that he's getting predictable. Calling out Remington Pod calls out Shane Gillis. Probably a couple things in there, but I was like, okay, exactly where this is going. He's like, oh, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be overrated. All these things, and it's like, sure, okay, hey, we're making fun of the old basketball times. I get it. Corny, the short shorts, no 3-point line. Some of the jumpers were funny. They were smoking cigs at halftime. They were ripping some coke. I get it. But, again, and that was the peak of basketball for the time that it was. So you still have to, I guess, give him a little bit of a credit there. And he was also making fun of the fact that, so Jordan hits the jumper, and then basically on the next play, they're playing Georgetown, if I'm not mistaken. And on the next play, the Georgetown guy throws it to the wrong team because he's got like a screener. He's got like a screener on the wing. So he picks up his dribble and he kind of looks away to the left. And then instead of, I guess taking time to look back right, he just quickly turns and then fires back right where the screener was, but the screener wasn't there anymore. And he just threw it right to the defender. And Gillis is basically like, oh, these guys all sucked at basketball. Like, how could this play possibly happen? And then in game 2 of the finals, the best player in the world, throws it right off of Castle's butt. It's the butt fumble 2.0 almost. And it's at least it was almost in New York again as well. New York would have been, hey, pause, relieved that it wasn't them. But, the tailbone blunder, I don't know what we call it, Chad. Hey, it might be a pause there, but either way, again, for Wemby, obviously, I don't know if he's losing his best case in the player in the world status, but again, still one of the best, and the mistake did happen. So I guess to bring it back to the Russell point that we were saying, I think the 11 and 13 a little underrated at this point. I think people are definitely overlooking at it. Oh, Bill Russell only played against plumbers and whatever. It's like, do you guys not know about Bob Pettit? Hey, Bob Pettit was cooking back then. Do you guys not know about Walt Bellamy? I don't even know if Walt Bellamy overlapped with Bill Russell. He might have been. Oh, Chad, what's this toenail commercial on Basketball Reference? Hey, Basketball Reference, clean it up Hey, yo. I mean, you got, I guess we're not going to criticize you too much for having the ads. We get it. But can we at least have a no toenail fungus ad policy? Like, hey, yo. For the basketball fan out there, it is what it is. I guess Bellamy 61-62. When did Russell play till, Chad? Did Walt Bellamy and Bill Russell play against each other? The question we all ask ourselves tonight. Russell played till 69. So, yeah, there would have been, I guess, maybe some potential matchups there. Rookie of the Year, 31 a game, chat. Again, hey, yo, what do you guys know about Walt Bellamy? Mr. Bellamy was his nickname? Shout out. That's kind of fun. Bells? Walt Bells? I guess I don't even know what this team is. CHZ? Was there a team with a Z back in the day? The Zyphers? I don't even know what a Zypher is, chat. The logo's not very revealing as well. Chicago Zyphers. Is it local to the city? Oh, print. Hey, we don't want to print. We're trying to Google search here. Let's see what we got. A light, gentle, refreshing breeze. Hey, yo. The Chicago Light, Gentle, Refreshing Breeze is their name. I guess, wait a second. The Chicago... Well, I guess the WNBA team is the Chicago Sky. So that's just like, atmosphere. Just, kind of that... there's not, I guess, a lot. It's not like the mighty wind or something like that. Hey, yo, again, we might be in pause territory there, with all due respect. But anyways, for a professional basketball team, the light, gentle breeze. Like, hey, yo, what are we doing? I guess the term, maybe it's a little bit more philosophical. The term is derived from Zephyrus, the Greek god of personification and of the west wind, who classically associated with spring, blooming flowers, and mild, favorable weather. So he's like kind of like a mid-tier, a mid-tier Greek person who is just like, mild. It's like, if it's like kind of 60 and cloudy and gray outside, like, that's Zephyrus. Hey, like, why are we naming a team this? Anyways, like, there are like cool Greek characters from back in the day, and maybe we should be using those more as well too for a team name. Like, that would be cool. I almost said for a W team name, but I guess this could be an NBA team name as well too. Like the Athenas, chat. Hey, I don't know. Is there an Odyssey basketball team name that we need to get in here? The Zeuses, what's Damon's character's name? Is he Homer? We have to look up the cast for the Odyssey real quick. Odyssey. Let's see. Book by Homer. Characters. Or just like, Greek mythological characters as well too. Odysseus's, Penelope. Oh, there's also, I guess, we're also, Helena of Troy as well too is defined. Calypso, who falls in love with Odysseus and holds him captive on her island. Oh, so is this going to happen in the movie? Spoiler alert, chat. Hey, yo. Who's playing Calypso? But, the Poseidons? The Poseidons could be kind of cool, honestly. Hey, yo, I guess, well, Seattle's going to be the Sonics, but in Vegas is probably going to be, the Spades or something like that. The Vegas Spades. I don't know. The Vegas Diamonds or something. But the Vegas Kings, I don't know if that would be, we might have to tread lightly with. I guess Sacramento. Sacramento is, but Sacramento Kings, with all due respect to Sacramento, it's still like Sacramento's, it's Sacramento. I guess shout out Sacramento. Hey, yo, what are we doing? But, again, it's not like, I feel like, well, I guess I was going to say Los Angeles Kings, but there's a hockey team called Los Angeles Kings. So I don't know. Maybe, I guess, I don't know. Is the Vegas Kings sound, I guess it's, who cares? It's a team name, right? It is what it is. But maybe there isn't, maybe you wouldn't name it after like a person as well, too. Maybe it would have to be like a ship, chat. Hey, what's the name of the ship? Or the Trojan? I guess you can't really call it the Trojans as well, too. Unless you get Trojan to sponsor a team. Hey, how is Trojan not a team jersey sponsor? Hey, yo, I remember there was a time there where there was like a, let's just say, there was an adult company trying to buy the team name for the Miami Heat arena, and that would have been an aggressive change if the NBA would have approved that. It'd have been like, the Heat are just playing at this explicitly named arena now. Welcome. Imagine if Bam Adebayo had dropped 83 points at the Bang Bros Arena, chat. Hey, yo, that would have been much more interesting, I guess, than what it was in the past. But then that would have been maybe made more sense for that brand deal there. But maybe you have to avoid that one. That one might be copyrighted as well too. Telemachus, Odysseus' son. Is that Tom Holland's character? And then I guess maybe Anne Hathaway is Penelope. as well too. Oh, Chet, hey, yo. I guess she's, poor, Anne Hathaway, just gonna be just chilling off screen, I guess, for a lot of time. I feel like that's gonna be a good part of I don't know if a good part of this movie, but a good part for the cast of this movie, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, I think Damon and Holland are gonna be in it for a bit, but I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are just in it for a split second. Hey, yo. It is what it is. And I did also see this report as well too about, speaking of the Odyssey, not to say that we are like, locked in for every piece of Odyssey news, but as it gets closer, I think the just the news cycle push the way that it is, I think is obviously just part of the marketing attempt for it as well too. But I did see this report for Pattinson. Wait, it says Pattinson stars as Antinius, the primary antagonist and lead suitor. Oh, okay. I didn't even realize he had that big of a role in the film as well too. But yeah, it was this article that I was seeing here where it said Pattinson was the only Odyssey star to ask Christopher Nolan an obvious question before signing on. So basically, it said that Robert Pattinson was the only person that asked him to read the script. And then Christopher Nolan was like, wait a second, why do you want to read the script? Everybody just said yes because, Nolan's at the peak of his powers right now. And it's like, Nolan's making a movie and he's asking me to be in it? Like, yes, I'll be in it. But Pattinson had to read the script, and it's like, oh, Pattinson, obviously the committed actor. Like, he's reading the script unlike anybody else. But we also, again, have to remember that Pattinson, the only other movie he's been in with Nolan is Tenet. And, I mean, Pattinson can call in here. We love Tenet, and, the first thing, if we ever get Pattinson on the line, it's like, okay, Pattinson, Tenet, he's going to be like, oh, no, here we go. And then we're going to be like, we love the movie. It's so great. But maybe he'll know. Maybe he'll get the vibe. He's like, or he logs on and immediately he's like, oh, I know this guy loves Tenet, and now I'm going to have to try to explain him the plot of Tenet. And we're like, Robert Pattinson, you were in Tenet. What does that mean? Hey, can you tell us what happened in that movie? But either way, it's like, I don't think that movie was the most successful Nolan movie. Actually, I think it might be the least successful Nolan movie of all of them. I don't know if that's technical from a box office standpoint, comparing that to Memento and then some of the earlier ones as well too. Obviously, Batman Begins, everything after that, is major commercial success at that point. But I don't know if Insomnia was a major box office success, compared to Tenet. Again, the other problem with Tenet, obviously, is that it got dropped in COVID as well too. So just the sort of collective theater going experience of a Nolan film at that time was, obviously just kind of non-existent at that point. But Insomnia didn't, it made 113 over 46, so hot take, Nolan made a hit. But Memento, obviously a hit now. Was it immediate box office success here? I've just never really looked at the number. I guess compared to the budget, it definitely was $9 million budget, $40 million as the box office. So at the end of the day, pretty successful there. Probably way much more in DVD and cable and things like that as well too. But again, everything has been pretty crazy. I guess here to look at Tenet, was Tenet more than 113 than Insomnia? I guess, yeah, Tenet, I mean, 365? Ayo, do we have to do revisionist history on Tenet in COVID? 365, not bad. I mean, that's pretty crazy, honestly. When did this actually drop in theaters? I guess, yeah, 2020, September 3rd, 2020, or just, having to go through all the COVID delays as well too. Oh, I haven't seen it stylized with the backwards ET for a while. Oh, kind of cool, chat. Hey, yo. It is what it is. But, again, shout out. We're a pro Tenet pod. John David apparently not in the Odyssey. Christopher Nolan, what's up? I mean, Christopher Nolan, why are we recasting John David? What's going on there? I feel like that's definitely a missed opportunity. And he is good in Tenet. Tenet is objectively good. And, he is, hot take. We're pro John David on this pod. I mean, you can't say the problem with, being the Washington namesake there. But if there is going to be those comparisons, it's like, okay, we're comparing him against the greatest actor of all time. But I mean, I guess we don't have to, tear somebody else down to build somebody else up. But I don't think that John David is just like on the team, if that makes sense. Hey, yo, I think John David made the league. again, I don't think it's a Steph Del Curry situation, but what's maybe like I think it's definitely better than a Rick Barry Brent Barry situation. With all due respect to Brent Barry, I think John David's probably a better actor than Brent Barry is a basketball player. Though again, Brent Barry like really good basketball player. I don't know. Can John David win an Oscar? Like that would be, I don't want to doubt his abilities. I think that he could for sure, but obviously Denzel is just a different level of beast. Brent Barry, no All-Stars, but a couple of championship teams, all rookie back in the day, but still like a pretty productive player. His dad, obviously Hall of Famer, Rick Barry. I'm trying to think who's like an all-time, who's an all-time player with kind of a pretty good, maybe like I guess Arch Manning is Cooper's kid. I was gonna say maybe like a Peyton Arch situation, but that could be like maybe if Arch was Peyton's kid, where it's like Peyton's like Denzel's like the greatest of all time, and then Arch is like could be like really good, but again it's like even if you're really good, that's just such a long ways to go to live up to that legacy. But I think John David's probably there's no way there's 25 actors right now better than John David Washington. Hey, is John David Washington a better actor right now than Frances McDormand? Chat, whoa, hot take. Oh, we're really getting crazy here on the pod, but who would you rather watch in a movie? John David or Frances McDormand? Though Frances McDormand as the protagonist would be interesting, because that is a fun role. It is, there is a pretty good action sequence in there, obviously, with John David, iconic kitchen fight action sequence when he gets taken back there in the restaurant, and the part where they I guess the opening scene in the opera, the part where they scale the building, like there's some in the airport part. Obviously there's some good action moments from John David, but there's just some good walking around Regal moments as well too. I'm pretty sure he could have been in this movie, but again, regardless, again, we have to give Pattinson some slack, because it's sort of like he wasn't in Oppenheimer, where it's like everybody in Oppenheimer got an award and everybody got celebrated and it's the best move ever of their career, or The Dark Knight as well too, which again didn't obviously get rewarded the same way, but still got critically beloved, and everybody's like setting themselves up for the greatness after that. Obviously rest in peace to obviously Heath Ledger and stuff like that, but for the possibilities and just for what the careers of those just for that film being as good as it was, like those guys definitely had a lot of sway after that. But for Pattinson, I'm not surprised that he would have maybe had a little bit of question for the script, just the script. Like again, you see Nolan's gonna have good visuals, he's obviously bringing in really big prestigious subject matter here with the Odyssey, and the set pieces are gonna be good. He's working with Ludwig, the score is gonna be on par, so there's gonna be a lot of technical pieces in place that are gonna work. But again, Pattinson's like, what is this movie going to look like on paper? Because Tenet was the least scripted movie that Nolan had. It was somehow the most scripted and least scripted movie. I think I'm pretty sure he handed the script to the actors and it was just lines going in different directions and like timelines. Like this connects here and this connects here. And he's like, you don't even really have to say anything. Like you're just going to be running, and then this guy will just kind of like explain like this time thing that happens. And then this side character will be like, so time just kind of moves around this way, pause, and then John David, will have to react to it, which is why he's such a good actor, chat. He has to react to something that isn't going on. But I can't believe I didn't even make this comparison until right now, that's like his deja vu, chat. Denzel had deja vu with Tony Scott, which is kind of like the underrated time warping action thriller, and John David has Tenet with Christopher Nolan, and also with the prestigious director as well too. We mentioned Tony Scott, and Christopher Nolan is that, where it's maybe not like the most instantly beloved movie, but the fans love it, and it starts it's a prestigious director starring a Washington. So and that would have been the perfect part two as well too. I guess in some ways, who's the guy that's directing? What's the movie he just directed? Oh, F1. Was the movie he just directed, right? I forget his name. Joseph something. What's his name? Because he is kind of also redoing the what do you say? The Tony Scott playbook in some ways. How do you spell Joseph, chat? Hey yo. What's his last name though? I forget. Joseph. Oh, K something. Cat. Can we get Joseph Carl Anthony Towns? What's his last name? Hey, yo. I guess we go Top Gun, right? Top Gun Maverick. He directed that. Obviously. Oh, Joseph Kaczynski. That's what it is. Let's see what we get here. Top Gun Spiderhead, both in 20. Oh, that was that. Yeah, that was that Hemsworth film. Oh, I remember seeing the trailers for that. It was interesting, but never ended up actually like throwing that one on as well. But yeah, F1 in 2025. So the Days of Thunder, Top Gun sort of crossover there, and then was primarily starting at Gears of producing something at some point. Something in the works with the power that he does have. The momentum, we should say, that he does have at this point. Okay, he does have one. Let's see what we have here. Oh, don't want to click on the ad. He's directing Miami Vice. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is the MBJ Austin Butler situation. Yeah, chat. Yeah. Hey, yo. And Tubi has definitely been getting us ready, I guess, for the Miami Vice thing, because it has been queuing up the Miami Vice series in autoplay after basically everything at this point. Every time I throw on a movie and then look up afterwards, after a while, it's like, oh, wait a second. What? Oh, this is Miami Vice. Like, this is the TV show. It's just auto-playing next. So I've seen... It was like that for Empire for a while, where I saw like the first 20 minutes of Empire like so much just because it kept auto-playing after everything. And now it's like that with Miami Vice, where I've seen like the first 15 minutes of Miami Vice. I've seen, I guess, I think it's backwards. What do I mean? Is it backwards, chat? I think, we'll just leave it at that. I think it's backwards in the movie, right? I think I maybe did hear them talking about that on the rewatchables. So in the show version, maybe Don Johnson is Don Johnson Crockett or is he Tubbs? I have no idea. But again, either way, whoever the non-Don Johnson character is, shout out. I guess we can just look up the show here. We're literally on IMDb, chat. Sometimes it takes me a second to dial in. Philip Michael Thomas is the name that we're looking for here. Philip Michael Thomas's character is like wandering through this bar to start the first series, the first season, first episode. So, hey, yo, chat, Philip Michael Thomas, giving himself a favorable IMDb photo here. But shout out. Why wouldn't you? But Don Johnson. I mean, Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas back in the 80s. I mean, come on, what are we talking about? That's the best that the 80s can give you right there, I guess. Pause. It is what it is. But we've seen a well-dressed, neon lit Philip Michael Thomas wandering through Miami in this bar like quite a bunch, just from this auto playing from Tubi. But I guess maybe differing from the Tony Scott. He's like what movie did Tony Scott not direct? And maybe I'll do that one. But I guess what else does he have? Oh, chat, if he does redo Deja Vu, I don't know how I'll feel about that. If Joseph Kaczynski redoes Deja Vu, because he could also redo Crimson Tide as well too. I don't know. That would be interesting because it would be the submarine thing. If he was like, I want to tackle an underwater movie in some ways. I don't know if that's like on his wish list. Here, let's see. What else does he have left to copy from Tony Scott? He's copied Scott Gun. Whoa, chat. Hey, yo. Why didn't he call it that? Scott Gun. Oh, he could redo Beverly Hills Cop, of course. I mean, we're talking about redoing movies with Denzel and in Eddie Murphy. I mean, Tony Scott working with the best, chat. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? But The Fan? Maybe The Fan. Oh, and Wesley Snipes. Yeah, The Fan has been, I think, that's either on YouTube or Tubi right now as well, too. I guess, okay, we'll watch it. Because that one has been, that one's been staring us down as well, too. True Romance would be a tough one to redo. That one's kind of iconic. Last Boy Scout? Maybe Last Boy Scout? It could be one of these sports movies. I guess he just did racing. But if he was doing, like football or is it baseball in The Fan? I think maybe is what they're doing. Fear Strikes Soon. I think that might be baseball. Spy Game, that's the Robert Redford, rest in peace, Brad Pitt situation. 04. I guess they just redid Mr. and Mrs. Smith as a TV show a while back. That's like a 2002 release with Brad Pitt. So, not out of the question, I guess. Man on Fire, of course, they just redid, not Kaczynski, but they just redid that as well. So Deja Vu, I guess, is kind of one of the last properties. I don't know if they've done it. Have they done a second Enemy of the State property at this point? Let's see here. Is there any spin-offs or anything that were making? Oh, undeveloped TV series 2016. I was gonna say there has to be some sort of TV series at some point for this one. Maybe Will Smith needs to executive produce Enemy of the State. Oh, chat. Oh, we got disconnected. We got disconnected from the OBS right as we said that. So I don't know if that counts as a good idea or not as well. But remake Enemy of the State with Jaden Smith. Hey, yo, I don't know who is in the Gene Hackman part. And I think does this have Sizemore in it as well too? Oh, wait, let me go back to the cast of this movie. Hey, yo, it's got John Voight, Gabriel Byrne as the NSA agent. Is there the cast also includes? Am I crazy? Sizemore, yeah, it's got Sizemore, Philip Baker Hall. Could be a potential part of the. Could be a potential part of it. That could be a movie that we could get a sequel to. And Kaczynski, that would be a fun movie for him to direct as well too, because that'd be like a high action spy thriller in a different type of way. You know, again, he's done the racing movie, the plane movie. This one doesn't focus around a vehicle, but he could also do like a Fast and Furious. I don't know, but Days of Thunder, True Romance, spy game. I think it does have to be Crimson Tide, or maybe The Last Boy Scout. Like we're saying, one of those two for Kaczynski, if he wants to dip back into the Tony Scott bag at some point. But Enemy of the State with John David Washington would not be bad as well too. That would be, kind of similar vibes to Tenet, but if it's a good action property, obviously, it can still be in the rotation as well too. But hey, Jaden Smith, well, see if you can get your dad to executive produce the Enemy of the State TV show for one of these streaming services. I don't know who Will Smith has the most sway with at this point. Is it NB? Is it like Peacock or something? This is gonna be a Peacock original. Jaden Smith stars in Enemy of the State. I'm still trying to think who's the Gene Hackman character. Who's like the old grizzled guy? That's do we have to look up who are our best old actors right now? Morgan Freeman. It could, I guess, but I don't know. Is Morgan Freeman in good health as well too? I shout out. We maybe shouldn't assume, but best old actors. It's not like Michael Caine or now. Is it just the cast of Batman? Later, Jack Nicholson, Pacino. It could be Pacino. I think maybe, I don't know, Hackman versus Pacino at that time. Hopkins. It could be Hopkins. I don't know if Nicholson is still going as well. Dick Van Dyke. Hey, yo, Chad. I mean, that'd really be pushing it. Mel Brooks, Clint Eastwood, Sir Ian McClellan, James Hong. Did I say that right? Yeah, maybe. 100 greatest actors of all time, very famous. William Shatner. Oh, that would be like the grumpiness of Gene Hackman. Hey, yo, if you wanted to capture the same, I don't think William Shatner is anywhere. Maybe I shouldn't say anywhere near. That's probably a little aggressive, but I don't think he's on the level of Gene Hackman. I don't know if William Shatner ever got nominated in the Oscars and stuff like that. Obviously TV actor. Whoa, hey, yo, call in, defend yourself, William Shatner. But if you wanted to get the grumpy old paranoid guy running away from the government, he could definitely capture that pretty well. Judi Dench, chat. Maybe Judi Dench in the Gene Hackman role would honestly be pretty interesting. Maybe we need to expand our horizons. Elliot Gould would be gold, Chad. That would be legit. Elliot Gould would be hilarious. It would definitely be a much more comedic spin. Jaden Smith and Elliot Gould. Elliot Gould might make that work. Hey, yo. Elliot Gould. I mean, when he's in Friends as the dad, it is one of those things where he's just like off the wall, being so random in the show and I think I found that maybe that's what I like in sitcoms. Is when there is like the one side character that goes in and is just like completely random from everything. Like Elliot Gould is that in Friends, and then Creed is that in The Office, or the are the two that I can think of off the top that are just like who were in the entire show for like 13 minutes combined, but just don't miss. And it's like Elliot Gould just does not miss in that show. Creed in The Office just does not miss. He's hilarious. But Elliot Gould as Enemy of the State would be pretty interesting as well too. I don't know, John Voight, but Harvey Keitel, not bad as well too. John Cleese, Is John Cleese still, is he still with the chat? Born 1939? And that's all it says. Yes, John Cleese is. Hey, yo, shout out to John Cleese. I don't know, though. I mean, he would be in the comedic side, I think, of the hey, yo, chat, what are we looking at? It's, I don't know how current this old guy actor list is. Hey, yo, I just closed everything out. My bad, chat. Can we get this going again? Let's see here. Camera testing 1 2 3. Sir Patrick Stewart. Yeah, we said. Oh, Martin Sheen is interesting. Nick Nolte. You know. But Harrison Ford. Oh, Harrison Ford would be good. Is the Harrison Ford the modern day Gene Hackman? Hey, yo. See, the thing is, it feels like they were acting at the same time. I don't know if they were necessarily going out for the same roles though. Like, maybe Gene Hackman was like farther ahead in role years than Harrison Ford was, than he was in like actual years, if that makes sense. Though I don't think, like, Enemy of the State 98, I don't think that, like, I think Harrison Ford maybe could have done that role in 98 as well too. Like, again, it's not like it has to be, like Harrison Ford could still be, a good-looking guy in 98. I mean, he's still a good-looking guy now, and Gene Hackman was a good-looking guy back then as well too. Hey, yo, shout out. But, it could still be kind of a little bit of anybody in that role, if that makes sense. But Ian McShane is, hey, yo, and Pesci as well, too. Walken. Malcolm McDowell, chat. Hey, yo. I don't know about that. But Frank Oz, Gary Busey, Sam Elliott, Michael Douglas in Enemy of the State 2026. Could be interesting. Steve Martin. Charlotte Rampling, chat. I see a lot. We have plenty of old white guys to choose from. Pause. Hey, yo, whoa. I think that is basically what this list is. Is Morgan Freeman even on this list that we were just? Oh yeah, here's Morgan Freeman. Shout out to Morgan Freeman, chat. Hey, yo. But what are we saying for? I guess again, it could be anybody in Enemy of the State. We could have Delroy Lindo in any Enemy of the State as well too. Delroy Lindo and Jaden Smith, chat. But I think we just need Delroy Lindo. We can get better roles for Delroy Lindo. I guess no disrespect to anybody on the list that we were trying to cast, but Pacino, I think, like, is getting side work at this point. Pause. Maybe in a lot of ways. So Pacino, we moved from the side work to sort of a main role like this. I'm not sure. Or Hopkins again. Like, Hopkins, I think, can still potentially get like critical acclaim these days, but it's not the consistent, Stellar Urgan, Elliot Gould. Like, again, these guys need the roles as well too. Like, they just need something. So, but Lindo, I think we can get him in some Academy level stuff as well too. But yeah, wait, the Zyphers, what were we talking about? The Odyssey cast? I don't even remember what we were off on here for a while. But yeah, shout out to Kaczynski for sure. Oh yeah, here we go, chat. Yeah, just to remind you that Miami Vice is on Tubi. So yeah, that is up next for him. I will say it is interesting that he is basically, well, F1 is new. That's why F1, I think, will stand out for him though. No disrespect to Top Gun Maverick, but maybe, I guess, Spiderhead maybe didn't land the same way as well too. And it is like, that generational movie. It was a great movie event for what it was in bringing people back to the theaters after COVID. And maybe in some ways it does live on more than the first one as well too. But it's just, you immediately go into competition with those old ones as well too. Not that that's a bad thing. If you're a competitive person, you kind of like that. Pause. But also, again, it's, also the part of like getting to just add whatever your own creative thing is into the, the movie sphere. Like, and sometimes we have the conversations of, it's like, have we used up all the ideas and stuff like that? But again, even just the little differences throughout, like F1 has been done before as a movie. Like, yes, we could look at it and say, are we out of movie ideas? It's just another old sports racing movie. But it's like, no, somebody at least crafted a different version of it, They didn't just say, okay, we're making Days of Thunder 3 and we have the same names and characters, and here he's going for the title, he's going for the title again. It's like, okay, we got F1, we got some new characters here, some new actors, like, at least it is separate in a way. Though, again, it's obviously very much a little bit of a sort of Days of Thunder-esque type of, and maybe other racing movies as well too. I don't always necessarily just go back to racing movies that much. But, and also this movie being exclusively on Apple is probably not going to help it as well too. I'm sure Apple does fine with the number of subscribers that they do have, but it would be nice if they leased it out to like, hey, yo, I mean, I don't think we could make the case for it to get on Tubi necessarily. You know, it's only been barely a year since it's dropped, but I mean, they could definitely, you know, put it up on Netflix or something like that. Again, that would be like, oh, you know, they're giving movies to the competitor. How could they do that? It's like also maybe just getting their own movies in front of their fans as well too. Like, there's nothing wrong with just being like, hey, remember F1? Remember what we can do as a movie studio, as Apple? Or, you know, maybe you don't drop it on Netflix. Maybe you drop it free on YouTube or something like that. Or again, I don't know if you can have, you know, maybe just, hey, if you're Apple, just make it free for like a week or something like that. Just be like, F1's free for a week. And then, you know, people, it's going to drive, you know, do you make money off it? But I feel like you probably will, because it'll drive people to the service. So, hey, do we just want to rewatch F1, chat? I think it's what it is. Highest to lowest. Just do like a movie free week or movie free day or something like that. Free with ads day for Apple. Because I don't think they have the free version. Again, it's not like Netflix has the free version or something like that. But in just sort of a corporate way to keep competing with some of the stuff that's out there. But, yeah, it is interesting because there was another guy that I was looking at his director page as well, too. And it's like, you know, these are all really, really good. You know, he's like doing a good job of remaking some of these movies. But it's like also, you know, if you're just making 2 and 3 and 4 of everything, or, you know, the next franchise version or the, you know, remake of this, it's like you're just going to be in competition with that stuff. And there is honestly like something about just the vibe of the time as well too. Like, yes, Miami Vice, like this is called Miami Vice 85. Like, yes, Miami Vice 85 in 2026, I guess 2028, you know, we still have to wait a little bit for this, but you know, I guess that's going to be good to see whatever the new updated. And I mean, I'm sure the flashing lights of Miami is really going to hook me in, chat. I mean, I'm not even saying that sarcastically. Like, you know, and again, I can't say I'm like a big plane movie or a big car movie, but he did get me a little bit with F1. Pause. That is, you know, a pretty good film, and I definitely think that the scenery in Miami is going to be, you know, pretty gravitational for us. But, you know, they're also, you're never going to be able to make it like it's 1985. It's going to be 2028 reinterpretation of 1985. The reason that Miami Vice is one of the reasons that Miami Vice is cool is because it's from 1985, and it's like you know, that part can't be replicated. One of the, you know, Beverly Hills Cop. One of the reasons Beverly Hills Cop is cool today is because it's from the 80s. And you don't even know that when you're making it at the time. You're not like, oh, we're making, and maybe you do. I guess, you know, we had these conversations about stuff like that. But that is also a conversation that we do have now, is like what movies represent our time in a way. And that is also something with going back and redoing those movies. Maybe that's why F1 is cool. Because F1 represents 2000s culture, but it's like, okay, like there is something there. Like there is, you know, a modern day representation as well too. Like, I guess I'm trying to think, like, you know, even like Coogler, like as much as we love Coogler's films, like, you know, Black Panther is obviously a you know, sci-fi sort of comic book film. And then you have a historical film too. I mean, you know, hey, yo, we're not saying, you know, it's one of the best films that's ever been made. So we're, you know, obviously if you're going to tell a story from a different time period, you know, go, you know, if you're anybody, you know, obviously that's the one, you know, Coogler did it as well as anybody's ever done it. But, you know, again, just in terms of this, what is being made as movies now. And, you know, that's part of the franchisization, you know, IP-ness of everything, where everything's just character and, you know, comic book and sci-fi and, you know, just like crazy fantasy type stuff. But, you know, again, if we're like some of these remake type stuff, a lot of the reasons that the remakes are cool, a lot of the reasons the original stuff are cool now is because they're in some ways artifacts of the time as well too. So you know, again, like I don't know if it's possible to compete with the Miami, even if it's corny. Even if it's corny, and you can go, oh, we can tighten up the plot stuff here. We can do this shot cooler. We can do this action sequence more modern. Blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but also, you know, what if I want to watch something from the 80s? And that's not always everybody's thought process now as well too. You know, obviously, you know, Stranger Things gets a lot of views, and reality TV. I mean, whatever. Maybe reality TV is the modern relic that we're leaving behind. Again, not even realizing it as well too, because I'm trying to think that I'm not going to say that reality TV wasn't around in the 70s and 80s, but I can't think of that as like a major, cultural conversation. It's not like, there's like a Johnny Carson of like 70s reality shows where it's like, oh yeah, everybody even knows about that. I'm not saying, does everybody know about Johnny Carson today? But yeah, everybody knows about talk shows. Hey, everybody knows about reality shows. But I'd say that reality shows are obviously at the peak of their powers in some ways. Maybe they were, they've been at the peak of their powers now or in this century, in recent times. So, and, again, just because it's literally capturing the modern day aesthetic, obviously there is the reality filter, the reality tinge to it. So I'm not saying it's a documentary of the time. But again, I'm not saying Miami Vice is a documentary of the 80s. It's just about, like, being in that aesthetic, being in that vibe. So maybe in 2060, because I guess the 80s are now, it's 2026, so 86 would be 40 years ago. So can I do math, chat? So in 2066, is that 40 years from now? Hey yo. So in 2066, when they're watching shows, is it going to be reality shows? I guess maybe we need to throw in like Abbott Elementary or something like that. I guess there are going to be some where it's just like, it's not like trying to aggress. Well, I guess it is trying to be, 2020s in some ways, but it's not like, again, like, let's document the time for history's sake or whatever, if you get what we're saying. Like, again, Miami Vice is not like, let's capture the 80s perfectly so we can just, document it's done. Maybe there are some projects that, we're doing that, and I'm sure that also is, again, a larger cultural conversation of like, or aesthetics just going away. It's like, I've seen like, is color going away? Pause, but like, obviously that could be satirical probably on, unfortunately a whole lot of, political levels right now. But, it's like, is like from design, is like, are things becoming more monochromatic? Are things becoming, less sort of, unique? We've seen this in the logos for the NBA and stuff like that, where it's like things are just becoming, circular and uniform. Chad, I feel like we're like, well, what is happening? But, it's like we're like in conspiracy mode right now. But again, it's interesting with the directors choosing, because it is just I guess that was what I was going to say. It just is interesting to me, the directors choosing to continually go for the remakes. And maybe that's just, again, the only opportunities the studios are presenting. Like, everybody in Hollywood lines up and goes, you can only make this movie if you make a Marvel movie. Like, sure, that's a fact. But I think we also probably have to give the directors some... again, blame is not the right word. Blame is not the right word, because the money-making opportunity of some of these franchises or whatever, the cachet you could build for some of this stuff. And again, when it's done properly, it's still good. Like, to use Coogler again as an example, I'm not going to say, let's take away IP. Black Panther's bad because it's IP. It's like Black Panther is an example of what you can do well with IP, and that is use characters that we're familiar with to tell, your sort of vision of a story, or to, flip it in a sort of different way. Not say that, again, he flipped Black Panther like totally different than the comic books or whatever, but he obviously had a unique vision for a world, a character that would have made sense outside of it being Black Panther. And he just was able to apply it to the Black Panther model. Again, going back to Nolan as well, too. That's obviously something that he did with The Dark Knight. Again, it's like he wanted to do like that Heat style action movie, and he was like, well, what if I do that with Batman characters? Or again, I don't know exactly what the timeline for the thinking process was there, but that's kind of how the stuff lined up. And again, that's an example of what you can do well with those types of things, because there is an originality to that. But I do think that, especially now looking again at like what is being big in the theaters, and we were even saying this last year on the pod as well too, when Sinners was having its moment, when Weapons was having his moment as well too, where it's like, people are like, oh well, will people go to the theaters? And it's like, well, they're going to the theaters for those movies, so does that mean that people won't go to the theaters, or do we just again have to reconsider sort of what the quality of the product is? at this point. Well, it's not will the people go to the theaters. I think the question is maybe sometimes will people go to maybe the mid movie the same way they used to, because that was also the thing, is people would just religiously just wander in, and like I guess speaking of the rewatchables, we always hear one of the hosts, Bill Simmons, on there talking about how his dad would like wander into these like 5 o'clock movies and just randomly check out these like bad action movies. And then he has this term, I think it was, whatever the time of day was, just sort of like this random late afternoon time of day where it's like, this non-prime time, low budget, B tier actor, obviously like Van Damme or Seagal or some, I don't know if we're like naming, direct correlations for him, his life. Maybe he's mentioned like Clint Eastwood, hot take, some old guy from back in the day like Clint Eastwood. But, Clint Eastwood would obviously be the prestige of that type of movie. But, again, for just people wandering religiously into the theater that type of way, maybe that doesn't happen the same way that it does, but people still do go to the theater, hot take, and again, we're seeing it now with obsessions in the back rooms and things like that. But I think we do maybe have to look at the creators as well, too, as not just, Hollywood's ruining the industry with the IP, but the creators were gravitating toward the IP as well, too, and wanting to make movies about these characters. Again, I guess it wasn't always wanting to tell stories with these characters, but everybody was wanting to make movies with these characters. And I think people still do, but I mean, I think you can even see it from, it goes with the consumer things because, again, a hot take, like the people that are watching the movies are also making the movies as well, too. Again, it just, obviously, there's a couple of them that make the movies, but, obviously there's fewer of them, I guess we should say, that make the movies than watch the movies, but there's still of the fan base that was, watching the movies of a certain time and still fans of certain movies and all those things. So, I think in our era growing up, there was just a much more interest in seeing those IP characters, but obviously, the saturation got to the point where now it's corrected and it's like, hey, hey, can we get the original story again? And you do see it starting to, work its way back in a major way, like we're saying, with the last 2 years of movies that we've seen the hit, what the hit movies are. But, again, a guy like Kaczynski, like is Miami Vice, is the studio going to Kaczynski and going, okay, if you want to make your next original movie, you have to make Miami Vice? Or is he presented with options? Because I'm pretty sure, F1 got nominated for a Best Picture. Top Gun Maverick got nominated for a Best Picture. I guess, Spiderhead, his one sort of weird movie. It's like, okay, maybe that's why he's losing his... Or did he write this? Writer's George Saunders. So maybe he's not, again, like a writer as well, too. Which is interesting if you're a director that, has to sort of work off of somebody's scripts, at some point as well, too. Who wrote Top Gun Maverick? Let's see here. Aaron Kruger, Eric Warren Singer. Oh, McQuarrie. Okay, yeah, the, Cruise's guy as well, too, from the Mission Impossibles there. But, and Kaczynski directed Oblivion? Now see, Chet, this is a movie. This is a movie right here. This is an original movie. A stranger's arrival triggers one man's battle to save mankind. I mean, that's about as vague as you can get for a premise. I don't exactly remember, based off of that, what the premise of this movie is. But I remember watching this movie trapped in a hotel once. Hey, I don't know, yeah, that's a pause, but maybe not. But me and Billy Buckets were in Florida, and we missed a flight, and we had to stay the extra day, and we were in the hotel, and we just watched Oblivion that afternoon. It was just on TV, and it was like, well, this movie kind of slaps. Hey, yo. So, and, it obviously looks really cool. Tom Cruise, cool poster in some ways. A lot of, again, Kaczynski, cool action stuff. I did not know he did that movie. My personal rotation, would I rather watch Oblivion right now than Top Gun Maverick and F1, chat? Heck yeah. Again, I probably haven't seen it in a while compared to those two, but either way, it is like the most it's just like an interesting sort of, again, as an original idea, sci-fi idea, but still. And I guess he did the first Tron as well, too. We were just talking about that one recently because that's a sleeper that Sam is... It's not a sleeper, but, one of the cult favorites that Sam is a fan of as well, too. But, again, I think we do have to look at the creators in the industry for gravitating toward the IP and the remakes. And that is not something that again, you can necessarily blame them for too much. I'm just saying it's not maybe something that you can only blame the industry for as well too, because I mean, we get it. As movie fans, we get it. We have the properties that we are fans of, and we have properties that we're like, oh, I wonder what it would be like if they we were just talking about it 2 minutes ago with Enemy of the State. So I'm not saying, hey, Universal's like, what movie do you want to make? Do you want to make your own movie, or do you want to make Enemy of the State? I'm not saying I would choose Enemy of the State, but I can see where somebody would get in that trap, like the DVD pile chat, like, hey, I guess, every remake the town every couple of years because it's just heat. Iron Man, again, kind of a weird stat. Inside Man, in like 20 years, would we want to remake Inside Man? Could I see how we could fall down that trap? I mean, yes, you could see how you could fall down that trap. Cradle to the Grave with DMX and Jet Li. I mean, where you're just like, what's this classic movie that I love, and just want to see it updated in this way, and maybe I think I have this interesting take on it or whatever. Like, I can see how that can happen, but I think that is also, I'm not saying it's 50-50. Maybe it's 70-30 studio pushing the film pause versus the creator accepting it. But the conversation for all of these years was, hey, it's 100% the studio's fault, and they need to give the creator, and again, there is some, maybe the conversation was like 95-5 for like, the studios are overwhelming everything and blah, 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 and, no original movies are getting passed. It's like, in some ways that wasn't even true as well too. Again, we're the most commercially successful movies every year, original films, maybe not, but it's like, okay, yes, A24, who is now, again, even breaking through into major commercial success, they've been making waves for, movies that have created cultural, movie sort of cultural conversation anyways. There have been, movies that have been talking points when they have dropped. And, it's been what you would probably consider a successful studio, even if it's still now breaking again into like major box office success. But again, I do think that there is some of the creators there. And again, like, Coogler is the best example of it, because he obviously was able to take and Creed is another example. Like, that's, perfect execution of how you flip IP into something original, because he's kind of branching off a character. He's paying homage to the original stories and highlighting some of the important, moments in those stories, but again, telling an original story himself and updating the movie part of it as well too. Like, I know it's like, can we create a checklist of things? But we probably could. We probably could create a checklist of things for, like, how do you handle a movie in an IP situation? And again, it probably would honestly just be based off of how Coogler has made his movies. But regardless, again, to see the mindset of how the filmmaker can gravitate toward those IP things, again, he still was interested. I'm not saying, again, was he, it's a bad thing that he's interested in this IP. I'm just saying that he still was interested in the Rocky franchise. He was still interested in making a Marvel movies. Those are still things that was important to him. And yes, as a great filmmaker, he's also able to make, again, give him the chance to create his own movie, and it's as great of a movie as we've ever gotten in Sinners. And he did it early as well too, with Fruitvale Station. Obviously that's, based on some tragic real life events as well too. But in terms of it being portrayed on screen for the first time, that was definitely, obviously the first handling of that story in that way, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I think you can see how the creator can get there, where it's like, yeah, you know what you want to do? Make a Batman movie, make an Iron Man movie, make a James Bond movie, make a Predator movie, make a Ninja Turtles movie. Hey, like, I was hearing somebody talk about Ninja Turtles the other day, and I was like, would that be a fun franchise to make movies for? Like, Ninja Turtles? Like, I think it kind of would be. Like, I'm not even like a big Turtles guy, but again, it just, like, I guess, anytime you have action, anytime you can work into some action sequences. Heat with the Ninja Turtles, chat. Hey, I don't know how that would work. Who's the bad guy in that? Again, see, I don't even know the franchise. Let's see what we got here, chat. Bad Ninja Turtles characters. Is it like Scratcher or something like that? Yeah, obviously the Turtles, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, blah, blah, blah. Master Splinter, the Wise Mutant Rat. So that's the one where there's that popular, like, meme where it's like the transitioning of eras or whatever, where it's like it's like the old rat guy and he's got the younger version of the Turtles. and then he's like guiding him along, and then the older version of the guy, like he's like all withered up, and then the turtles are grown and they're like helping him walk. And it's like that's almost depressing. And people do that with like, oh, it'll be like first it's Brady and Drake, or Brady and Belichick, and then Drake May and Vrabel, or Drake May and Belichick, or something like that. It's like, oh, Drake May helping carry off old Bill Belichick or something like that. But yeah, the Shredder. The Shredder is the Turtles' arch enemy and ruthless master a ruthless master who leads the Evil Foot Clan. Whoa, the Evil Foot Clan. Hey, yo. Krang, an alien warlord from Dimension X, Bebop and Rocksteady, Shredder's muted henchman, and then Baxter Stockman, a brilliant mad scientist. So that's like Sizemore and Kilmer right there, Chad. Hey, yo, this is like the whole clan. Is Krang like Wangro? So he's like the alien who's like the outsider. Again, we tried that, but just in terms of this story, like he's like the outsider who gets brought into the crew and then like goes crazy. Like, I guess they don't kill a turtle right off the bat, but they have to execute like a security guard, and then I guess who's the what we say, like the brains, yeah, Donatello, the resident tech genius and brains. So we have the fearless tactical leader, the hot-headed muscular powerhouse, the resident tech genius, and the goofy energetic wildcard. So which one is the Pacino that shows up to the scene? It's either Leo or Donatello. Maybe it's a bit of both. They both kind of like take Pacino's role there, where they're kind of alternating, pointing out stuff at the crime scene. But one of the turtles has to show up and be like, they had the exits mapped out that way, and they knew our response times. They knew the turtle response times would be 2 minutes. They knew we'd get the call, blah, 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 blah. So, and then it'd be, I guess it would be Leo as the leader, right? So Leo would have to pick up the Shredder on the highway at some point and then take him to coffee. Hey, I just had coffee with the Shredder a half an hour ago. And the Shredder's like sitting across from him at coffee. He's like, there's a flip side to that coin. What if I have to put you down? I will, or what does he say? He's like, I do like the one part where he just like brings up like, I have a lady. He's like, what are you, some kind of monk? And he's like, no, I have a lady. I like De Niro's just like working. De Niro is honestly just like dropping that into conversation now just to let people know. He's like, yeah, no, don't worry. I have a lady. I'm just bringing that up in random moments. Don't worry about it. And I did also notice randomly as well too, the last time we watched it, that the first time, maybe it's the only time, but there's the shot of Neil in the bookstore where he's flipping through the book in front of the book rack. Hey, as you would do in a bookstore. But I never noticed before that Edie actually walks behind him in the bookstore. So, I mean, it makes sense that you could just have a character that works at the bookstore. Again, you show him in the bookstore. So if Edie bumps into him in the next scene, then she's like, oh, I work at the bookstore. You're like, oh, I saw him there. So that makes sense. Correlation made. But Edie actually walks behind him. Pause. So, Michael Mann, attention to detail. It's like, again, the point of that scene wasn't even just him reading a book about metals. It wasn't even about, hey, this is Neil being as great of his job. But, it's just this great world building scene by Michael Mann. Ayo. But I guess I don't know who the Edie character is. Is this April O'Neil, chat, the brilliant human reporter? Ayo, the turtle's closest ally above the ground. I don't know, how does that work? Is April O'Neil as tall as... Is there any tension between Leo and, like, April O'Neil in the show? Do we have to watch that? There was, speaking of Tubi, or maybe this was, like, a Paramount Plus situation, there was one time where a Ninja Turtles movie did autoplay after something, and I forget. I think Stephen Amell was in it, which, shout out. I used to watch the Arrow show back in the day. I guess we did Turtle Ninja Chat show. Hey, yeah, let's see what we got here. 87? Or no, it was a movie. Maybe this was like a 2013 movie. 2014. Yeah, let's see what we got here. 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Alan Rickman? Maybe it wasn't Stephen. We're getting Stephen Amell and Alan Rickman mixed up? Oh, Megan Fox was in it. Were we watching Transformers and then it gave us... Hey, yo, chat, imagine. Megan Fox and the Transformers and the Turtles. That what a franchise run. William Fichtner. Speaking of Heat, chat. Hey, yo, we have Van Sant in this right here. So the Turtles could be finding the guy who is... Shredder is stealing funds from Van Sant. Oh, chat. Hey, yo. And then Leo would have to take down, I guess. Or no, wait, it would be... Yeah, I guess because if Shredder's the De Niro character, then Shredder would be stealing the funds from Van Sant, and then whoever is John Voight's character would be like calling him up, being like, and then we're going to sell you back the funds for whatever the profit, nobody misses out. But I guess, is there one with Stephen Amell? Yeah, here, let me see what am I thinking of. Started in the 15. Oh, 2016. It's a little bit newer, I guess, or maybe it was 2014. Ninja Turtles 2 is what we're thinking of here. Okay, let's see what we got. If we go Turtles 2016, Out of the Shadows, new hit movie. Are we watching this tonight? It's on Pluto, chat. Uh-oh. Wait a second. I still don't. It still has Alan Rickman. Oh no, there he is, Stephen Amell. I guess he's just listed lower. But again, shout out. I guess we've always been kind of, seeing if he would get the big movie break. He did do like a wrestling show with somebody where I was like, okay, he's at least like working with some guys. That pause. Who was that with? Hey, yeah, we'll have to get the cast back up here. Oh, that was Alexander Ludwig. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it was more Ludwig working with Amell. That was impressive. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it still has been like a little bit of a, I don't know if a climb is the right word, but, still looking for the right role, I guess, for our guy. But shout out, obviously, I guess a cult classic. 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, so not doing great. I guess, Chad, June 3rd, should we be doing an anniversary episode for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows? Should we queue it up right now? Hey, yo. If it's on Pluto, 135 budget, chat. Uh-oh. What did this do at the box office? That's a kind of an expensive film. I guess it's for an animated kind of live action crossover situation. 246. Okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness the Turtles are making money still. It is what it is. Tyler Perry's in this, chat, of course. Yeah, and Alan Rickman, I guess. And Laura Linney. Oh, well, Chad, I guess it's confirmed. We're watching it. It is what it is. What did we just watch with Laura Linney in it recently? A bunch of movies. A bunch of movies. I make no mistake. I even forget what they all are. I think we've been just ripping through the filmography. It is what it is. I think we watched Primal Fear like 6 times lately. It's like, what are we going to watch? Oh, I guess it's got Laura Linney in it. It is what it is. Shout out. Laura Linney, call in. Is Laura Linney in the chat right now? I don't know. But if we had Roger Goodell earlier, does that mean pause? Laura Linney's also, joined the chat at some point. But, yeah, again, I guess the point was, you can see how the franchises are tempting. What do we see here? Highest grossing franchises. Highest grossing Indian film franchises. Highest grossing films, American and Canadian. Highest grossing media franchises. So this wouldn't even be just movie. Pokemon, chat. Hey, yo, Mickey Mouse and Friends. Winnie the Pooh is the third. The 50 billion. There's only 3 franchises in the 50 billion plus mark, chat. Whoa, Mickey Mouse, Pokemon, and Winnie the Pooh. Star Wars, Disney Princess, Anna, and Pan Man. And Pan Man? Whoa, who was Pan Man? This is weird. Barbie, MCU, Harry Potter, Hello Kitty, Call of Duty, Batman, Spider-Man, Transformers, Naruto, Dungeon Fighter, Cars, and Candy Crush. Whoa. I guess we got a range here. Oh, 20 to 40 bill. That's a range. Yeah, we don't like that. MCU and Batman are almost tied, chat? Wait a second. MCU as a film franchise, 30, or just as a media franchise, I guess. Hey, yo. Or no, wait, this is just Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, as a movie franchise, 35.2 billion. Batman 29.9. Whoa, taking on the whole industry, chat. The Drake of the superhero beefs, I guess, in some ways. But Spider-Man's right there at 26.8. So is Batman officially the best superhero? Or is Superman up here as well, too? I guess Darth Vader is the best superhero, if Star Wars is up there, or Luke Skywalker. But yeah, the Turtles are right there as well, too. Looney Tunes, SpongeBob, Lion King, Dora, Pac-Man, Paw Patrol, Toy Story, Peanuts, Avengers, separate, whoa. Heyo. Frozen, Space Invaders, Warcraft, Despicable Me, Dragon Ball, Street Fighter, Jurassic Park, James Bond, only at 9.75, not even a $10 billion franchise? Whoa, chat. Hey, yo, I'm shocked. James Bond franchise is valued as much as the Angry Birds? That's crazy. And Fortnite at 9 bill as well, too. The Power Rangers. Whoa, chat. I mean, that's a property that I don't think we properly explored lately. How have we not had like a prestige Power Rangers movie as well? Ben 10, Sesame Street, Madden NFL, 7 billion. Where's GTA? They're saying it's going to be like 8 alone off of this new movie, so that's going to put it up in this new video game. But I guess that is the next step, right? The GTA movie. Hey, yo, has that even been anything that's been developed? Let's see here. GTA movie. Let's see what we got here. There is no official Grand Theft Auto movie in development. See, chat, boom. This is what I'm saying. This is how the creators get involved in franchises, because I go, oh, look at this. There's no movie. I would just want to make a GTA movie. This would be fun. I don't even like GTA. A GTA with the turtles in it, chat? Oh, no. What are we doing? We've just immediately ruined it. It's a disaster. Rockstar Games' parent company, Take-Two, have consistently declined to license the film for film adaptations. Whoa, prioritizing total creative control. Former Rockstar executive Dan Houser, however, has noted that the financial rewards of a movie never made sense given the risk of damaging a multi-billion-dollar gaming IP. I mean, they will definitely reconsider that because, you know, again, if GTA 6 goes well, I would assume that they'd be looking at least 100. I don't know how GTA doesn't make 100 million at the box office. Like, people would go see the GTA movie. I think the Street Fighter movie would definitely see. Let's see. I guess there's sort of the whatever maybe the gameplay movie version of stuff is. Oh, there is a film from 1977 called Grand Theft Auto. Oh, starring Ron Howard in his directorial debut. Whoa, would you look at that? Ron Howard, I guess. Written by Rance Howard? Is that like his brother? I guess, or the father and filmmaker of Ron Howard. I did just learn that Javier Bardem had a brother, speaking of filmmaking families. Carlos Bardem. I mean, I didn't want to assume when I saw the name Carlos Bardem that he was immediately related to Javier Bardem, but when I saw his face, I was like, hey, yo, that guy is definitely related to Javier Bardem. Let's see what we got. Carlos Bardem. Yeah, chat. Spanish actor. Apparently the Bardems, prominent family. You know, shout out. Obviously a regal bunch as well, too. But, yeah, I guess maybe not quite the same roles that Javier has played. I think maybe Spix has sticking to more Spanish cinema. Hey, yo, there we go. I was getting our words confused. Our bad there. But what were we talking? Beyblade franchise, chat? Hey, yo. 4.6 billion franchises? We're just going back to naming franchises. Pivot away. Hey, yo. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are we still good? Is this where we go to break? Hey, yo, chat, it is what it is. You know, we're trying our best over here. The words are moving fast sometimes. You know, are bad. We're not trying to say anything intentionally bad. But, Black Panther franchise, 2.31 billion. Hey, yo, that's just based on 2 movies. I mean, come on. You know, again, shout out. But the Conjuring universe, you know, hey, yo, Rocky, Monsterverse, chat. I mean, who wouldn't want to make a Godzilla movie? It'd be great. But I guess we still do have some World Cup stuff to look over here tonight. You know, we do, again, in the night off from the finals, we do have a couple finals, I guess, games. You know, at least 2 this week, but also World Cup action this week. And I guess we'll use, again, the non-finals night to maybe learn about some of the World Cup stuff, because make no mistake, we know nothing that is going on for soccer. We maybe know a couple names, a couple teams. I mean, I guess we know the countries, right? But we don't even know which ones qualified, which ones are not. Hey, yo. So again, it'll be a total 101 ground zero starting place, learn everything type of moment here on the Remington Pod as we try to catch up on the football knowledge for the World Cup starting this week. I mean, you know, the world is excited, chat. So we're like, what's this thing that everybody's talking about? Soccer, football, World Cup? I guess it's a big deal. So we're going to try to learn what's going on with the World Cup after the break, right after this. All right, Chad, here we are. Time to learn about the World Cup. Do we start by learning about the World Cup by doing a lineup on 82and0.com? Did we do a lineup before this? Hey, yo, it was kind of mid, 63 and 19. It is what it is. Did we get a 78 and 4 the other day, Chad? We're not going to brag about it. We're not going to brag about it because I honestly don't think it was worthy of the 78 and 4 rating. But it did have wilt, which listening to Van Lathan on Higher Learning, shout out to the Higher Learning podcast, of course, Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay hosting, but he was talking about how this game here loves wilt and MJ. I mean, obviously two of the greats. But there is a strategicness to the game that you start to figure out after a while, and it does seem like it'll mess with you in some ways. Where, like, if I lock down a certain position, then I'll, like, get a team where, and we were seeing this a little bit last time we were playing, where, like, you'll get the team where it's like, oh, I could have got that guy right there. Again, but if you lock in both of your guard spots, or I guess, I don't know, like, can MJ play small forward in this game? I'm not certain. But, like, if you lock in every spot where you get MJ, then it's like, oh, then I pull the Bulls in the 90s next. So, obviously you still get some options. But, it's like, whatever you compromise, then I get a good option next. So, it almost is like there's a way to reshuffle, and then sometimes it will also, again, like, it's like I get the shooting guard, and then it gives me the Bulls in the 10s, or the Bulls in the 60s, or maybe they weren't around the 70s or something, where, like, I could reshuffle for MJ, but then I could risk it again the other way. So again, I feel like there is a way to learn how to play the game itself. So, but New Orleans in the 2000s, we might be kind of screwed with this one, honestly, to start off. Maybe this may have to be like a don't pick a guard or a center so we can save ourselves for that MJ Wilt spot. In 2000s, we might as honestly just reshuffle the team to start off. It is what it is. Golden State in the 2000s. Okay, I don't think we're necessarily in a way better position, but again, like we were saying, I think the early key is to remember if we have, oh man, chat, we're already not going to go 82and0. It is what it is. We can't get a guy that can only play one spot, though. We need the versatility. So Dunleavy gives us 4 positions. We may just have to take Dunleavy because, again, we're not going to go 82and0 with Jason Richardson or one of the other guys. Maybe just Steven Jackson as well, too, just because he does play 3 spots. So we're going to go We're going to go Steven Jackson for this lineup here. We'll just put him at power forward for now because who cares? Maybe it can bait us into giving us a front court guy. We can switch it around. Oh, Atlanta in the 60s. Okay, here we go. Speaking of Bob Pettit, chat. Hey, here we go. And Paul Silas as well, too. But we're going to take Bob Pettit and put him at center. Okay, we might be back in the mix now for... Oh, New York in the 20s. I mean, we hate to do it, chat, but for this lineup, we're taking Brunson. It is what it is. We're taking enemy territory. Again, no nightmares about Jalen Brunson, as we were saying earlier. So I guess we can safely take him in this lineup here and, not have to worry about it too much. Let's see. Maybe we size down just a little bit here. And see the whole lineup. But did we get? Oh no, did we get Atlanta in the 60s again? We'll spin and get Minnesota in the 2000s. Okay, so see, this is where they're trying to trick us because we're like, oh, we can't take Kevin Garnett because now our front court's taken up. But he can also play small forward as well too. But we can move Steven Jackson to small forward. And Kevin Garnett, I guess, can be our power forward just for cohesion. This is not a bad lineup. Again, I don't think we're going 72and0, but Brunson, KG, and Bob Pettit with Steven Jackson on the wing is not bad. But unfortunately, Steven Jackson, maybe it's like a 70-win team. Golden State in the 90s. So we can reshuffle the era. I think we're going to have to. No disrespect to Chris Mullin or what are we saying, like Mitch Richmond as well, or Tim Hardaway is actually the name I'm thinking of. Obviously, Tim Hardaway Jr., Michigan legend. And I guess we could potentially move Steven Jackson to shooting guard, Kevin Garnett to small forward, and we could put Chris Webber in at power forward. But the ultimate swing would be to go for Steph or Wilt again to help up this for the 82 lineup. We could roll again Golden State in the 2000s and lock in that we're not going to go 82-0 or 70 wins or whatever. We could also roll Golden State in the 2000s and in the 80s. Would be bad, quote unquote, I think. Maybe the 80s we'd have to double check that roster and see. Maybe like Nate Thurman would not be bad, but I guess, we don't want to say bad, but it would not get us the maximum opportunity. But if we got Golden State in maybe the 60s, I don't know, Wilt was maybe in the Warriors or in Philly. in the 70s, or the Lakers. I don't know exactly where he would fall in the lineup there. I was doing a lineup earlier, hot take, and I did get the Warriors in the 60s in Philly. I was like, can I get like multiple Wilts? I thought I pulled multiple Wilts, but then he was like off the lineup once I had him subbed in already. So I was like, maybe it's smart there, but I think we're gonna, for entertainment value, we're gonna reshuffle though. Maybe for Michigan loyalty, we have to go with Chris Webber. Actually, for Michigan loyalty, we have to go with Chris Webber, and we'll just do another lineup. How about that? It is what it is. Webber, this is a 70-win team. Perfect. We might have got our goal. 70 wins. That maybe means we're gonna win the finals. I don't know. But Brunson, Steven Jackson, Garnett, Chris Webber, and Bob Pettit is a not low key dangerous, front court. It is just a straight up dangerous front court. But Webber and Garnett kind of unlocked in a modern era, like. I mean, speaking of Towns, like both these guys can do what Towns did, by 100. We're just going to, how many guys can we? We're going to do every power forward ranking better than Towns in the next live stream. It is what it is, hey, but they could definitely have the perimeter element to some degree. I mean, Towns probably a little bit better shot mechanics, maybe just because of the era that he was, raised in. But in terms of the two-way production, these guys flying around. I mean, come on, we're talking about two of the great playmaking small, power forwards of the day. So they definitely could have been, the wings there on this team again. Steven Jackson as a bigger shooting guard, and then Brunson as the point guard. I mean, this is great chat. Okay, one more before we get back to the World Cup stuff. I guess Boston in the 70s. Okay, wait, we don't get Bird. Maybe Bird for one season. I don't know, but we do get Havlicek. Do we get? I don't know, Silas. Who else am I thinking of? Cowens as well too. Maybe some Heinsohn minutes. Oh, McAdoo for a little bit. Our guy McAdoo. Pause. David Bing, I guess, for a season or two. But I think we have to go Havlicek to start. We could also reshuffle the era. I feel like Boston in the 70s. Well, Boston in the 90s and 2000s would not be great. 2010s would be fun. Pierce, Garnett, Ray Allen. But I think Havlicek in the 70s is enough for this Boston role here. We'll go with that. So we can have him at small forward or shooting guard. Utah in the 70s. Okay, we might have to re-roll the era here, though we do get Gail Goodrich, who is obviously, a good stats guy. Though, we could try to re-roll for the 90s. Oh, Pistol Pete in the 70s, he can only be a shooting guard. So the minute we do that, we're going to roll MJ. It is what it is. So maybe we have to skip. Oh, Spencer Haywood, chat. Hey, maybe we're the only guy to ever get that excited about Spencer Haywood. Pause. Bud Stallworth? I'm not sure. Do we re-roll the era here? Maybe we re-roll the team and try to go 70s again? Or do we just go with Gail Goodrich at point guard, shooting guard? Let's re-roll the team and just see what we get. 70s. Phoenix in the 70s. We kind of downgraded, unfortunately. Let's go. I feel like we've gotten this team a couple times, and that's another thing with this game is I feel like it'll feed you the same teams. As much as I played this game, I have legitimately only rolled San Antonio, any era of San Antonio, one time. So there are I feel like there's probably some franchises and some eras that I haven't re-rolled. I feel like Phoenix in the 70s is up there with the most rolled teams that we've gotten. So we basically had almost every version of the team in the lineup. We'll just take Coney Hawkins and see what happens there. I did play this game with the stats a couple times, and that's actually, I think, where we got the 78-win team. And I don't even think it was that good, but the stats version's too easy. It literally sorts the stats and it sorts it like by the stats themselves. It gives you the stats and it sorts it by like points per game. So this one, again, it gives you no stats, but it doesn't give you like a fun sort. It doesn't like put Chris Webber at the top of the list regardless. Like it sorts it alphabetically. So, it doesn't give you any sort of, hints as to who might be the better pick. So, you have to know your ball knowledge, but we'll risk it with Coney Hawkins. I don't think that's going to be like, the secret key. But we've had Phoenix in the 70s so much, that we'll just mix it up there. So, again, we could go Chris Webber and lock in the center position again. Shout out to our Michigan loyalty here for Kings in the 70s. We could go Peja, could be kind of a fun pick. Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby, of course, also very productive. Peja can only be a small forward, so we could move Havlicek to a shooting guard, I guess, and play Peja. But I think Havlicek is a better shooting guard than Peja. But we will go. And Havlicek's a great shooting guard. Havlicek's a great shooting guard. Better small forward than Peja. He's a great shooting guard as well, too. So, and Peja's a really good small forward. But I think we're obviously just going to take the best player off the team, Chris Webber, and play him at center. Coney, I was going to say, do we have a CH already? Coney Hawkins. So, double CH. That, rest in peace. We could also play him at small forward as well, too. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2. Okay, we're back. Kuzma? No. Oh, wait a second. That was close. Kobe. Ooh, Lamar Odom as well, too. Could be. Oh, and we also get LeBron as well, too. Maybe for, like, one season? Do we take, like, one season LeBron versus Kobe, chat? No, I think for the Lakers, just out of respect, we have to take Kobe, right? Rest in peace. So, Kobe, shooting guard, small forward. Do we have to move Havlicek to shooting guard? Kobe's going to be our wing, I think will be the move. And now we're basically only getting a point guard. I think we have our era respin left, right? Miami in the 80s? Okay, we might have to reuse this. I think Miami, unfortunately, the point guard lineage in Miami is a little tough. If we re-roll and can get Wade as a point guard, that'd be nice. But yeah, Miami in the 80s is not giving us anything for point guard. No disrespect to the Miami point guards. But let's see. Miami in the 10s. Okay, let's see what we can get Wade as here. Can he be a point guard? Maybe he can. And there is some weird... Oh, he can be. And that's the thing with this game as well, too. There is some weird positional stuff. Pause. Like, Knuppel is a small forward, power forward. I saw that when we rolled Charlotte one time. It's like, we could play Knuppel at power forward. Chad, I'm going to play one more lineup. It is what it is. This is 63 and 19. We should have ended with the 70-win team. We got 20s Wade, 70s Havlicek, 10s Kobe, 70s Coney Hawkins, and 20s Chris Webber. I mean, that's another firepower lineup, but... Hey, yeah, okay, maybe at the end. I mean, I don't even know where to start with the World Cup, chat. Hey, the Poly Market, Team USA. I did see somebody comparing the USA winning the World Cup would be like the Browns winning the Super Bowl, and I was like, okay, fair comparison. I do see how improbable that would be if the Browns won this. If the Browns, imagine after trading Myles Garrett. Would the Browns win the Super Bowl? Should we just look up that? We're going to start the World Cup. We're going to start the World Cup rankings by looking up the Browns, because this is where we saw the USA compared to the 25th team in the league last year. So not the worst. Team USA, I guess, maybe not the worst team in football. I don't know who was, but I guess going into this year, like the Raiders are going to be better. Like who added Mendoza in the World Cup lineup? But obviously, and that's right. They drafted Taylon Green. I forgot about that. Maybe I don't know if we'll see Taylon Green. They have Deshaun Watson projected as the starter right now, chat. Hey, that's not good for Team USA. But for the Browns, does that make us feel worse about the team? I guess let's just pretend it's Shador for right now, because he'll be back soon enough. Jerry Jeudy, Concepcion, Tillman. Chat, this offense is good for 13 a game. So, how, I guess in soccer, that's, what's the 13 a game equivalent? That's like 1 point every couple of games. I guess we saw the score of that friendlies matchup. What was it, 1-2? So basically a point a game, but they give up, a good amount of points as well too. But, again, and speaking of Mendoza, like obviously Indiana, was a team that kind of was a little Cleveland-ish in terms of some of the lineage stuff, obviously from the basketball side of things, a great basketball or football side of things, obviously great basketball state, Hoosiers, we tread lightly there, but just in terms of the Indiana school as well too, it obviously is a, historic program in terms of some of the basketball success there, but the football team was obviously not one of the most successful football programs, and it was a little improbable until Mark Cuban started, pumping money into the program. Pause. A little improbable that they would become the champion that they were. So, I don't know, does the Team US need an investor like some others? I don't know how that would play into some, and I guess it would be investing in somehow just investment in the sport in a way that would just help improve sort of the soccer athlete, the soccer skill in the nation. But again, I guess this of the time periods, this is kind of the underdog era in a way. So maybe the lesson is it's going to be an underdog World Cup year this year anyways. And obviously, maybe Team USA being the home team, there's a little bit of like, hey, could it be us this year? But maybe it'll be, I don't know what the other nation potential is, but maybe we just need to keep that in mind, that this is going to be that upset type of year. Because, again, like, you can't necessarily say that Indiana roster upset a roster. So I don't even know, again, what is the correlation where Indiana became the powerhouse program. It was the underdog program that became the powerhouse. What was the next game? Seattle, has been good this century, so it's not like they're a total wash. But, they rebuilt into a team that, definitely jumped out and surprised a bunch of people with how dominant that team was. And this New York team is a little bit like that as well, too. You know, we didn't necessarily see this historic playoff run happening with the regular season they had, you know, with respect to the regular season. But, again, it's not like they were the best team in NBA history, and now they're on about the winningest run that any team in NBA history has ever had in the playoffs. You know, including some of the best teams that we have, the 2017 Warriors, you know, the 90s Bulls, the 2000s Lakers. Like, this New York win streak is right up there with all of them. So, you know, again, like, they're historic in nature in that way. But in terms of what they have been as a franchise, they have been the underdog, the sort of, you know, they haven't necessarily been the top-tier organization like those other ones that we're saying. Again, maybe Seattle sort of a little bit higher than some of those other ones. But regardless, I don't know if Team USA has built their program up to that level. You know, it would be like, again, the true underdog team happening in the season itself, where if Indiana had been like a 10-win team's not going to make a playoff. But if they, you know, I guess Miami was a little bit of a lower seed in the playoff. So if Miami had maybe won the playoff, because, and, you know, like Ohio State the last couple of years, you know, we hate to even say it, but, you know, they obviously benefited from the expanded playoff as well, too. But that team was not necessarily like an underdog team. That was just the politics of a 4-team playoff and what it would have meant for them losing at that time in the season to the rival that they did. Of course, losing that game to Michigan a couple years ago. But, you know, again, you know, it would be whatever sort of the soccer, whatever the football team is in the World Cup standpoint that has been underrated, the underrated country the last couple of years. But we would have to look at the roster and go, oh yeah, it is as talented as these rosters. Because again, that's actually what happened with New York this year, and that's actually what happened with Indiana. Is, yes, historically they're down, but this year they definitely are, you know, the best team there. So maybe we just, you know, start with the standings as well too. I guess I don't know if I guess this is standings for how it'll play out. Do we have like a ranking that we can get to? I guess we were saying the poly market earlier, so let's see what we can get here. Chat, what spoilers can we look up on the poly market for? Oh, I guess the NBA Finals spoilers are the first ones, chat. Hey, yo. So, I better go 22%. That's a lot higher than the confidence that I have right now. I think we're like at, like, are we in the single digits for confidence? We might be, chat. We might be at like 8% confidence right now. I don't even know what that means, but whatever 8% confidence is, I think that's what this feels like. Pause. Hey, yo, you know, pause. But regardless, it is definitely, you know, no disrespect to the Spurs. It's just, unfortunately, you know, a little overmatched, like we were saying earlier, and just in terms of being ready for the moment. Like, you know, we're saying it just goes into the quotes and the mindset and all this stuff. The New York team is just ready to win the title, and this Spurs team doesn't fully grasp. Hey, yo, I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, but you know, they don't fully grasp the weight of the moment yet, and that is, you know, they were saying going into the finals, you know, for better or worse, we don't understand the pressure, and I think we do learn now that, you know what, actually maybe you do need to understand the pressure of the finals. I think, you know, Brady maybe is an example of that. I don't know if Brady ever, you know, we have to go back and look at the quotes. I feel like maybe there have been some quotes. I get the poly market, chat. Hey, yo, it's lagging right now. It is what it is. I don't know if we're gonna get to see the odds like we want to. Here, we might have to pull up the FanDuel and see what is going on. Sorry, poly market, you just got benched. It is what it is. You know, we're calling you out, but maybe we could call them all out. Kalshi, we're just calling everybody out right now. But we'll still look at FanDuel, I guess. Hey, yo, breaking news, REMINGTOM pod, hypocritical. You got us, chat. We hate to admit it. But let's see here. Soccer, is this where we going? Is World Cup its own? How is World Cup not its own tab? Hey, yo, international. Sri Lanka versus international friendlies. Okay, so this is still World Cup stuff. Spain is favored, plus 450. France, okay, so Wemby, I guess, you know, after losing the finals, unfortunately, Spurs fans are gonna have to see him cheering, so that'll be something. But England, Brazil, plus 850. You know, Brazil, obviously, I think a legacy program there. Portugal, plus 850. Argentina, 950. Germany, 14-1. Obviously, maybe there's some name value there at 14-1. Netherlands, 16-1. Belgium, 22-1. Norway, Colombia, Japan, Morocco, Mexico, USA at 55-1. So they are at least in the upper half-ish of the field. You know, obviously, we get down to... Oh, chat, Ayo, the Saudis, I think the Saudis disconnected us there for a second. We started criticizing their soccer team. The Saudis said, "Hey, yo, cut them off." But yeah, they, hey, yo, they're investing in all these sports over here. They forgot about soccer. But yeah, at least the U.S. is not out of it, but they are, again, a little bit of a long shot. But Portugal would be interesting. I don't know if Portugal, like, year to year is a dominant soccer program, but maybe they do have some pedigree enough in the past and now have built their way there. Obviously, Argentina, speaking of Spurs legends, we've got Wemby and Ginobili both up here, as well. I guess, Tony Parker, shout out. So, Spurs well represented at the World Cup. I'm sure we'll get some cutaways. I think Tony Parker's around in soccer. I know he's been invested in European basketball, but I think he's around in soccer, right? He's been around in like some F1 events and stuff, I feel like. So, I think he's involved in the European sports scene to some degree. But yeah, so we got Spain and France right now looking like the top two teams so far. So, okay, here we go. The Poly Market finally loading. Do we have a World Cup tab? I'm sure we do. World Cup. Here we go. 288 selections, chat. Perfect. We can lose so much ways to lose our money here. 1% of people, is this 1% of people betting on the U.S. or the chance? So yeah, Spain at 16%, France at 16%, Argentina, I guess, oh, no, wait, okay, yeah, Portugal 4, England 3, Argentina 5, Brazil, Germany, Netherlands. So yeah, we got a bunch of teams that are on the outside looking in. So, U.S. is kind of even lower in Poly Market than they are in the odds, because you have a handful of teams here again at 1-2%, then everybody else is less than 1%. But the 1% teams are basically the, almost out of it teams as well too. Germany is 5%. So maybe Germany is like the underdog team this year, hey yo. But I just feel like I remember them winning it in the past. So if you have won it, then at least there is some, correlation there. But yeah, do we have props and stuff? Let's see what we have going on here. The winner, I guess just winners of all the different groups and stuff. Will Messi play? Okay, 98% chance that Messi will play. So that's good. Oh, we have to log in to show all the stuff? Hey, yo. Okay. I don't know about all that. But at least FanDuel also has the winner here. Goal scorer? Top goal scorer? Okay, so Team USA top goal scorer. Is Pulisic here? Pulisic is still here. So good thing that the supposed, I'm saying supposed because that was the storylines back in the day. He was supposed to be like the face of U.S. soccer, and seems like he still is. Shout out. Carrying the way. Are people giving Pulisic the credit, chat, that he deserves as the, guy carrying the torch since he was a child in that type of way? But maybe that's a pause. But either way, he plus 300 to be the top goal scorer. Shout out. Otherwise, we're not going to be much familiar with anybody else here on the team. It is what it is. No USA goal scorer plus 450. Also, that would be like a tie, chat. That's actually pretty interesting. If we know nothing about it, that's like the know nothing about it chaos bet. Would be. Can we get an explanation for that? Hey, let's see. Dead heat rules apply. So what does that mean? What does this mean? Can somebody explain this to us? Does that mean they don't? Or do they just not score any goals? I mean, I guess that could be a possibility, right? If they just lose a couple of group play games and then they're just out of the tournament or something like that. Could you end the World Cup with no goals scored? Or is it a tie bet? Hey, do we have to search this? No, let's see. No USA goal scorer prop. Let's put a question mark here and see how it works. In many sports books, specific player goal scorer odds like World Hockey are often listed Team USA top goal scorer, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking to place these bets, blah blah blah. Okay, I need an explanation of how this works. Okay, hot take. They're trying to trick us into losing the bet, chat. I think that's what it is. But just as if we're trying to be an agent of chaos, that would be, I guess, the agent of chaos bet that we could potentially make here for the team. Timothy Way? I feel like for some reason I remember that name, but, again, who's to say for what is going on here. But, yeah, let's go back to the ESPN and see if we can get some rankings here for what is going on. Simulating the World Cup. Who did EA predict? Oh, EA Sports? It says, wait, did they predict the winners? When it comes to predicting the winner of the World Cup, USA, EA Sports has a superb track record. Oh, would you look at that? Because they obviously do this with Madden and I feel like with 2K and stuff. So I don't know exactly if we go back and look at the timeline, how successful they have been. Like Madden has been at predicting the Super Bowl. Has Madden been more successful than like, you know, the octopus or the dog that like has like the basketball down the stairs into the basket, and then it's like, oh, look at that! It knew that all the playoffs were like going to Game 7. Like I don't know if it's more successful than that, but it says while not 100% scientific, EA has previously simulated the World Cup hundreds of times using its game and correctly predicted the winners of the past four, of past four. Oh, so not the past four. Hey, just four random ones? Okay, 2010, 14, 18, and 22. So every now and then it'll get it right is what it's saying. Last time they also correctly predicted Messi to win the Golden Ball player. And I forgot. Yeah, well, I guess did we forget? But, you know, how crazy that Messi run was. And that was a little improbable, right? So I don't know if we used up the underdog run last year or last time. But that was definitely fun. And obviously the star power Messi already had, but just like the icon he became to the world to that time. I mean, that was just the perfect example of what the World Cup can do for, you know, star making at this era. But could they prove similarly mystic this summer? I guess Lamine Yamal, who, I mean, you know, go back to the tapes of this pod. We were having people early on talk about how good Lamine Yamal was going to be. So now, you know, maybe international stage could definitely, his debut in the World Cup. Yeah, he is without a doubt the most highly talented person. What about Haaland as well? Has he played in the World Cup? We might have to go back and check and see what he did there. It says EA predicts that he will finish as the top goal scorer with insert goal number of goals. Ayo, so not being too specific there, but at least he'll be number one. Top assister, Elliot Anderson out of England. Of all the simulations, it says this one might be the most surprising. Some of Europe's biggest clubs are vying to sign Anderson for this summer for his top-notch defensive work, but EA has seen his attacking side too. Their simulation found Anderson to be the top assister over the course of the tournament. So they don't have any actual predictions, but at least it said that Anderson registered only 4 assists across 38 Premier League games last summer, but maybe this tournament could be a breakout moment. So basically they're saying the simulation broke. Hey, 4 assists, so that's like, who would be like a no passer in the NBA that would just lead the league in assists or the playoffs in assists? Here, let's actually look. Is there like a random guy right now that, I guess, well, I was going to say, is Castle like 9 assists a game in the playoffs or something like that? But he was sneaky, you know, high 7, 8 a game. You know, I think he was top 10 in the league in assisting just in general. So it wouldn't have been like too surprising of a jump, especially, you know, seeing as how Spurs have played some of the more, you know, playoff games this year. But let's see if, you know, maybe considering some of the early playoff series as well too, if somebody surprising jumped up there. Oh, I guess Scotty Barnes maybe being number 2, but he is always kind of an assist guy as well. Shea, Cade, LeBron, Drew Holiday at 7 a game. So I guess, you know, nobody out of the ordinary, and it's always going to be the lead offensive guys as well too. I guess Towns, you know, hey, you know, 5 assists a game is, you know, hot take, obviously cooking. But I guess it would be like, if Mitchell was just like averaging 10 assists a game? I guess I don't know if Elliot Anderson is the scorer that Donovan Mitchell is. So if that's a, you know, a fair comparison there. But if just you know, not a limited passer, but a guy maybe not known for his passing is just randomly having a bunch of assists. But I guess you could see how EA could simulate Donovan Mitchell just randomly having like 10 assists a game in a simulation. It's like, okay, I guess I can't say that it's not going to happen, but would I bet on it? Probably not. Maybe it'd be more of a Cleveland thing, again, Donovan Mitchell, but it's just not really how he plays as well too. But it said the simulation, it says, how did Team USA fare there in these simulations? It would be a tall order for head coach Mauricio Pochettino to deliver the United States' best ever World Cup performance. They made the semifinal for the first time in 1930, and EA found as much. The simulation found that Team USA most commonly went out in the round of 16, and the same stage it exited in the last World Cup in a 3-1 defeat to the Netherlands. Although they will need to play an extra knockout stage game in this expanded tournament to get there. However, they also found that it made the quarterfinals with attacker Malik Tillman as their most likely top scorer ahead of Christian Pulisic. Hey, Chet, so let's use that in the FanDuel real quick. Malik Tillman as the lead scorer for Team US. I feel like he wasn't the top option. Plus 750. Ooh, okay, not bad, chat. There we go. A little advice from the Remington Pod using this using the EA Sports Simulation. Is Malik Tillman at plus 750 as the top goal scorer? Could be interesting. But it said Pulisic and Tillman both made it into the top assist makers, but the crown was taken by Bologun. As for disciplined team captain Tim Ream and defender Sergio Dest were recipients of the most yellow cards. Oh no! Well, forward Brandon Anderson was somewhat unlikely recipient of Team USA's only red card across all tournaments. So Brendan Arison is going to get kicked out, is what it seems like. And it says that Spain is probably going to win as well, too. And it, I guess, is citing Lamal as the winner. So wait, who is this other guy that is pictured here? Elliot Anderson will also... Oh, this is Declan Rice? I guess I was going to say earlier. I didn't remember, that being Lamine Lamal. But is this him here? Lamine will make his World Cup debut for Spain this year. I guess, again, we really know nothing about soccer. But I think this might be him. For a strong track record in EA's prediction for this year's World Cup. With a strong track record in EA's prediction for this year's World Cup, winner is Spain. Spain has form for this. The World Cup title in 2010 came off the back of winning Euro in 2008. As for winners of 2024 Euro, could history repeat itself? EA found that Yamal would be their top scorer, with Pedri providing the most assists as well too. Christian Eriksen conscious out after on pitch. Chat. We see some scary storylines, I guess, forming in the World Cup as it looks like a player goes down early on there. Hopefully he is doing okay. But I guess it doesn't seem like they're expecting Team USA to crazy succeed. No disrespect. I don't know, is there like a matchup version where they, maybe for everybody, but it doesn't look like there is a couple simulations where it's like, if these things break right for them, then all of a sudden they're in the Final Four with the matchups playing out a certain way. But round of 16 is fun. Again, there was a time there where I think Team USA was not qualifying for the World Cup, so that is in some ways, I'm sure, good to get back on track. The Viking picture for Team Norway, I guess our guy Haaland's on this team, so, shout out. We do like Haaland on the pod, but the Viking picture is interesting. I get the theme thing there, kind of cool, but, I don't know. I don't know, chat. But I did see the was it the Brazil plane get, baptized as it was going out, so maybe we have to bet Brazil. The nuns for San Antonio were affecting stuff. Maybe the baptismal plane, the baptism plane for Brazil could be something as well, too. They're ranking kits here, Chad, in this article, and I'm just going to tell you right now that this is the winner. What country is this here? Pause. But trying to look at the jerseys. Oh, 105? Hey, I guess Qatar away. A decent. Oh, it's going to rank the home and away for everybody? Hey, I guess, just kind of basic, right? Adidas sort of... stuff. Switzerland, okay, obviously. Is it green camo and orange shorts? I could see how that could be ranked 104. Swiss has impressed in recent years by releasing conceptual kits by Alpine Railway. Uzbekistan? See, this is a simple soccer kit here, but it's kind of cool. You got the kind of textured design. I guess not textured, but you kind of have a light pattern, almost barely visible here on the shirt, but I kind of like the sleekness of it, and then the blue outline is not bad as well too. Canada away. Oh, this is good. You got kind of the paint splatter Nike, light blue on the darker background situation. I kind of like it. I like a paint splatter situation. So even if it's simple, I'm a fan. Jordan Holm is, got the the dot pattern there on the shoulder, and I guess they do also have like a, this is actually like a texture almost running through the shirt, giving it kind of a nice pattern. Okay, see, that does level it up a little bit for sure, instead of it just being that kind of basic white tee as well, but still obviously on the simpler side there. Same thing here with the Iraq third jersey, Ecuador third as well. This is the horizontal version of that pattern, but nothing too crazy as well. Side stripe is cool, and I do like you got kind of the off-white situation here. I don't know. This patch is kind of cool. And I feel like there is something cool here. But, I guess there's a lot of competition. But, oh, it's better than this New Zealand one. This is literally just, like, Under Armour or, like, Puma Outlet Mall outfit. Hey, yo. Is this even an official jersey? This is literally like, I bought this t-shirt and shorts on discount. Like, oh, I can't believe they have Puma brand at this Goodwill. Like, this is crazy. This should honestly be 105. Shout out to New Zealand, but there is nothing going on here. It is what it is. Qatar home. Wait, was that their away earlier? That was 105. Yeah, why is the Qatar away worse than this? What is going on here? Not to be confused with their All Blacks, the famous rugby union team. New Zealand's monochromatic home kit has a soft Maori fern motif to help the material to help cement the important cultural links of the island. You got to shout out that for sure. And I guess, yeah, it is, that sort of light pattern that we are a fan of. But still, I don't know. It just is. It doesn't look like a soccer shirt. It really does just look like a basic sports t-shirt. So I do like the fact that it's like, okay, you see this, that this is a soccer kit, a football kit. So that is good there. Cape Verde. I guess you got some of the staging for this is cool. I guess I don't know if the jersey is cooler than anything we've seen so far, but the background is pretty good. You gotta love the effort there. Turkey away. Is this just Turkey? I think that flag obviously looks familiar. I do kind of like the light designed red stripe going across there. We've got again another kind of light texture underneath the country flag. It's good symmetry here. Flag, Nike logo, and number kind of all stacked up in a line there. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Switzerland home, much better than whatever the green and orange one was with the green camo. This is, I guess, that same sort of t-shirt, long sleeve look compared to the normal soccer kit. But, I don't know, this is definitely leaning more soccer than the other one was, that for sure. I think the contrast of the undershirt versus the kit shirt is what helps that look there. I guess these kind of are similar, these back-to-back one here, the Jordan away, both red. Canada third. Are we just going to have to scroll through these? Chat? I don't know if we do we have to break down every jersey. I don't know. Tunisia home. Okay. Ecuador home. The yellow. Now we're just getting into some cooler colors. So this is, I almost do kind of like their off-white. Well, I don't know. They're both kind of equal. The yellow and the off-white are kind of similar, I guess. I don't know. The off-white one is just more, I think, this is more like a soccer kit, and the off-white one is more like, that was like I actually just like would wear that out almost. It's almost just more of a polo. At that point, what is this? I ran away. Oh, what? Hey, yo, chat. Just a little giggle there out of the team name listing. That's a funny one. If you say the jersey name, if you say I ran and then away there really quickly, it sounds like you ran away. But no, we're just talking about the I ran away jerseys. Get it, chat? Get it? So we'll see there. But yeah, back to the Cape Verde home jerseys. Again, cool staging, just the blue colorway version of what we saw last time. Saudi Arabia. So Adidas puts no effort into the jerseys is basically what we find out. Everybody gets the same design, just in their own colorways. And that does make sense. This is why, again, obviously there might be other reasons why Nike is better than the rest of the brands. I'm sure we could look into that. But I don't know if better is the right way to say it, but what do we say, like number one, AO in terms of all the brands, but they do just do better design. It is what it is. Adidas, like, step up your game. Like, Nike is putting individuality into some of this stuff, and you're just like cookie cutter, same soccer jersey that everybody's been wearing for 50 years to all these countries, but like, let's just here's the World Cup patch. Oh, woo, that's exciting. But Haiti away. See, this is great. This is actually honestly maybe way higher as well too. I always do love a shirt with no model in it, but somehow it still has the model body outline in the shirt as well too. Somehow this shirt, if you just like set it up, still has a perfect pectoral 6-ab outline. You even have some bicep in here as well too. So that's hopefully I just buy this shirt. Do I just look ripped? Do I just look jacked if I wear this shirt as well too? Is this like foam inserts, or I don't know how that works, but hey, yo. But this is actually great. You've got a revolutionary, homage here with the design at the bottom, and it seamlessly complements the flag as well too on the on the shirt, you know, you have like a country logo situation here as well too, but then to kind of have that worked in at the bottom there, and then, you know, just kind of the light design, again, nothing taken away from it too much, but still looks kind of like a sleek soccer design. Haiti's gonna move into the top 10, that's for sure. Ooh, oh Chad, okay, the 80s, we're getting stronger here. We can see the design again. Maybe the photo shoot does have something to do with it, but this is definitely stepping it up here. Puma. And I feel like Puma even might have a little bit more originality across jerseys than Adidas does. So Uzbekistan, you know, again, I think the home version we saw earlier might be better than that. I don't know. Egypt away, Puma as well too. Okay, maybe Puma getting a little copycat with the photo shoot design here, but at least the jersey originality is something. Okay, the other Turkey jersey is there. Tunisia third. So everybody has a third. We haven't seen a fourth at this point. Bosnia and Herzegovina home jersey there. Iran home. Hey, yo, Chad, it sounds like it again. I ran away and I ran home. Canada home. Also, Canada kind of basic this year. You know, it is what it is. Full long sleeve, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be ideal for some of the stuff. Did I see somebody complaining about it being hot? I don't know. But Haiti again, away. So we know that, I guess, ESPN likes the blue colorways more so than the gray colorways. I don't know, because I do kind of like the away colorways, or I guess the home colorways more. I guess it just depends. But Iraq home, I guess, doesn't sound as like sentency as Iran home. But Australia home, looking like Brazil. Honestly, I don't know if we got a mix-up color situation here. If this is like, you know, AO pause, but or if this is like an Iowa Hawkeyes Pittsburgh Steelers situation where it's like, you know, Maybe I've seen those jerseys somewhere before. But Australia is like, we want to look like a winning program, so what do? We just copy Brazil's jersey colorway here. And but I guess Australia has worn the yellow and the green for their basketball. I think for the Olympics and the FIFA. Now that I think about it, maybe Patty Mills has worn that, but I don't know. Just maybe, you know, obviously Brazil may be the better program there, so that's what it makes us think of. But Senegal home is pretty cool as well too. I wonder if the shorts had been the green instead of the yellow, if that would have maybe been, I don't know what that would have looked like there, but you know, obviously the shirt is pretty cool. Jordan third. This is not bad. We got like a flower sort of imposed on the jersey here, black and gold. Definitely a very cool look. Australia, okay. Congo, what do we got? Haiti again. Their third is, I guess, a red colorway version of what we saw earlier. Paraguay, shout out. Tunisia. Okay, this is interesting. This is a Portland Trail Blazers homage right here with V-neck outline and then, you know, more crazy side work, I guess. Pause. Hey, yo. But the Kappa, this is their fraternity version. I guess the Kappa Alpha Delta jersey. I don't know. But Ghana home. Also, this is what we saw on the what do we say, the image at the top of the page. So this should be in the top 10 as well too. This sort of spider web, colorful spider web situation, rainbow spider web almost. Puma again. See, Puma's doing different designs here. We just had all the Adidas jerseys were like 90 through 80, and now we're just getting to the other brands. Croatia, Nike. I guess, you know, now we're seeing, you know, the country flags worked into the design as well too. The checker pattern. This is pretty cool. Sort of imposed there. Ivory Coast. See, this is a good use of orange and green here. I don't know, whatever the Swiss were doing with it is, they butchered it, Chad. It is what it is. Ecuador away. Okay, these are obviously a sleek design here. You get some rose gold, some, you know, charcoal situation. I like the side paneling, looks good. Very you know, very simple, like we're saying. Egypt home as well, getting a higher ranking. Sweden home, and the Team US, we haven't seen any Team USA jerseys, so I guess maybe there's a bias there. Scotland, oh, Adidas, Chad, making a surge. Hey, and look at this, Colombia again, once the same, so, or I should say once again the same, and it's just basically the different colorways for the country. So which colorway is going to have the coolest Adidas version of the colorway is basically the question that we need to answer. Morocco, Czech home by Puma. Portugal, another red colorway. Bosnia and Herzegovina again, getting the Indiana Pacers pinstripe homage there. Senegal with the sort of middle panel designing here by Puma, kind of cool. I guess that kind of was the flag design like we saw with the Czech earlier. But maybe that was a Nike design. I guess, again, even South Africa here by Adidas. Look at this. It's just shoulder stripes, and it's the same thing. So, yes, it is basically just going to be based on colorways there. Umbro. We've got DR Congo with Umbro collab. So I do like the reaching out to the different brand. How come nobody did like a designer brand collab? I mean, you imagine some of these soccer programs definitely have the money. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if Team USA is the most well-funded soccer program, but, again, like, could Spain have done, and I don't know what the fashion brands are per country. What's a high-end, here, we get designer Spanish brands. Let's see what we get here. What are we missing? That would be this Balenciaga. Okay, so why, Balenciaga, could Spain get like a Balenciaga collab for their jersey? That'd be sick. Or like Louis Vuitton is Italian, right? So designer Italian brands. I guess, have we seen an Italy jersey yet? At this point, they would have a lot to pick from. Prada, Gucci, Versace. Hey, yo, Fendi as well too. Giorgio Armani. Hey, yo, Valentino. So yeah, they are definitely set there. French designer French brands. Let's see what we got here. Hermes? Chanel? Oh, Christian Dior. Oh, chat, that makes us think of the quote that's going around right now, of course. Once we saw that quote, we were like, we are cooked. It is what it is. And that was after game one when the one Knicks fan dropped the quote that's now iconic, where he says, and we quote, he says, and, we're not from New York, so when we say our, we're not speaking in the first person here, but to quote him, he says, our mayor's Muslim, our bagels are Jewish, our Christian Dior, Knicks in 4. And then the clip that we saw cut to this robot dancing to Dior by Pop Smoke. It's like, she liked the way that I move, she liked the way that I dance, and the robot's boom, and then the bass hits, and robot's dancing, and I was like, oh, and the crowd's just going crazy, and I was like, okay. If they're dancing to Pop Smoke and AI robots, and this guy's just dropping legendary rhymes, we're done. It is what it is. I haven't seen a single video of a fan at San Antonio. A fan Antonio? Whoa. Maybe we're just dropping a new term there. I haven't seen a single video of a San Antonio fan being excited. So, not to call him out, but somebody needs to do an interview and say, are we hyped up? Maybe not after game 2 now, but Christian Dior could sponsor the French team. Like, that'd be sick. The Christian Dior jerseys, chat, they're missing out. They are definitely missing out. Oh, Paraguay. These are cool. These are cool, chat. This is a secret. This might be a secret top 10 as well, too. Unless this is, again, like a tier jump in the list. But the subtle blue detailing here, again, Puma. Puma wiping down Adidas. The power rankings have changed, chat. I don't know if they already had been, but if they hadn't, I mean, it's official now. I guess, no more Yeezus for better or worse at Adidas. Probably better from a business standpoint, but unfortunately, you're down a pretty major clothing line at that point. I guess, I was going to say, Curry was Under Armour, so they didn't just lose Curry, but I feel like they just lost another athlete as well, too. But I could be wrong. I could be projecting that on them. Pause. Okay, Austria, again, Puma. Puma might be just the best designer in the tournament. Again, we're just discrediting Adidas at this point. It is what it is. Norway by Nike. Interesting. I wonder what they're trying to say with this design, chat. But I guess, it is what it is. Norway's full-on white-out third alternative is a blinding flash of pristine white with flecks of platinum trim. It's tough to look at. The blizzard out on the tundra. However, it's quite the same striking effect as their blackout away shirts. Oh, we haven't gotten to those yet. Okay. Something tells us the grass stains are going to be a bit of an issue. Yeah, those are striking. Curacao. Is that the name of this country, chat? I don't know. But I guess that's what we're thinking of. Germany away. Okay, again, Adidas represented here. Okay, we've seen that before. Another Adidas. New Zealand away. This is that Puma. I guess this is much more soccer than their other one. You need the differentiating between the long sleeve there. Whatever they did on the last time, I guess that's why it's ranked so low. But yeah, definitely a striking contrast. The largest so far, probably between home and away. Adidas, Panama home Reebok. Ooh, a Reebok introduction, looking like Tommy Hilfiger or some Fila. I don't know if that's the right crossover there, but definitely in the polo lane for sure. Ralph Lauren. Portugal away. Iraq away, chat. The green and white colorway there. Croatia. Okay, a much more striking version of the blue jersey that we saw earlier. I almost like the blue one that time for, the sort of the simplicity of it, like we're saying. But this is definitely, much more homage to the country flag there. Not to say that we don't like the Croatian country flag, but, just as a jersey design standpoint, the other one was cool. Sweden away. See, this is getting up there for the best use of the Adidas fashion. If this was a one-off for the style, then it would be fun. And I guess maybe Adidas, like, having cohesive branding, there is probably something to that, but it just becomes uncreative after a while as well, too, when these other countries are, and these other companies are going all out for these countries as well, too. South Korea. Hey, yo, top 35. Look at this. This is great. Panama away as well, too. Colombia away jersey up there by Adidas, I guess, looking bland as well, too. England, Uruguay. Oh, okay. We get sort of a powder blue situation here. Not bad. A offset collar combo. Again, looking very much just kind of like a normal, preppy polo situation, but also kind of a cool color. Norway home. Okay, these look like the Wizards jersey from the 2000s John Wall era, and I did like those jerseys, chat. Ayo, let's see. John Wall Wizards alt jersey. Yeah, chat, alt shirt. Hey, yo, of course I messed up the search at the last second. Alt jersey. Let's see what we get. Okay, you have the throwback era, and they did play, I guess it's kind of the similar of what they have now. Same branding. There was maybe a couple different versions of it, but, the red, white, and blue pinstripe version versus the orange and blue, version of the mid-2000s. But they had these alternates that they wore where the stripe went from the side. Oh, it was these right here. If we could find these with the shorts, that would be sick. Hey, yo, do we have, I guess it might be just like Wizards 2010s alt jersey. 2010s. Oh, it's bringing back the throwbacks again as well, too. But we'll find it, chat. We'll find it. Jerseys.com. Trae Young in a Wizards jersey. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. I guess, okay, if this is their jersey now, that's right. Maybe they do play. I guess this is an alternate now. I don't know. We're not keeping up with Wizards jerseys, I guess. It is what it is. Yeah, they did have these throwbacks as well. But is it pinstripe? Let me see here. Pinstripe jersey. Let's see what we get. Short sleeve jersey might have to be the right search. Okay, here's a chart anyways. And it was these ones that we're talking about. But the stripe wrapped around on the shorts, and then you could see it curve up the side of the short and then back around, if that made sense. Again, I wish we could find it. Pause. It would be, we liked playing Madden just because playing Madden, 2K. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Yeah, chat. I guess we kind of went the wrong way with the hoop and went across, I guess. Ayo. But, yeah, and I just like the idea of it. Like, it's creative. I don't think that it was like a wildly successful jersey, and I think it's more so because people hated the short sleeve era of jersey, which, again, hot take. I'm not anti the short sleeve era. Obviously, the players didn't like it, but aesthetically, it's fine to mix it up. Who cares? But, yeah, again, this would have been, a fun jersey that we liked back in the day. So Norway, I guess, is, copying John Wall here with that, but Adidas, again, with Spain. Again, good use of the colorway there, but yeah, still, obviously they tapped out. Okay, United States at 28. Obviously, some bias here. Definitely very, very simple design. Probably the very slight blue contrast that you can see. Obviously, maybe, less is more. Scotland away. Okay, so the creative Adidas colorways are getting some love. That's sure. Ivory Coast away. This is cool. This is cool. The contrasting patterns here definitely does work. You have like a sun pattern with a striped pattern. Puma, once again, pulling up with the creative design. Netherlands at home, maybe a little overrated. Some bright orange there. Okay, Argentina, a classic, a classic use of the Argentina colorways. Obviously, we all know it, especially from last year. Oh, Brazil is kind of mixing up their look. Oh, okay, so they got a blue look this year. Is this their third? Oh no, this is their away. Okay, interesting. Ooh, Jordan brand collab. Oh, I guess Nike. Did we need to go back and check the Nike overlap there? Ooh, England kind of copying the other team there also with the bright jersey. Ooh, purple. Here we go. South Korea. I like to see it. They're away. We haven't seen any lavender mixed in there. The Sacramento Kings of the of the World Cup. I don't know if we want to dig too much into that comparison there, but I'm just trying to compare the jersey colors. That's all. Netherlands away. Classic, orange and white here. South Africa. Oh, what do we got? Germany. Okay. Kind of a interesting use of the flag, but again, it's Adidas, so we know how it goes. Norway away. Here's the blackout jerseys. I guess, is this the contrast of their whiteout jerseys? Definitely, much more easier to look at, that's for sure. My eyes aren't blinded by the lights reflecting off of the, imagine this guy in the whiteout jersey, chat. Hey, he would just be like a pale beam running across the screen. But Mexico away, also Adidas. Oh, Adidas just racking up points at the top here. Ghana away by Puma gets sort of a gold edition as well. What do we got here? Another Adidas. Oh, France, number 12. So this might be their lowest ranking of anything in the tournament so far. But we get Mbappe here, of course, modeling the Nike kit. Not bad. Not bad. I don't know if it screams France, but it looks cool for sure. Morocco home at number 11. I guess the kind of cool collar is honestly, and then kind of the simple details is, a nice touch to the red jersey here to separate it. You get the green undershirt there. Spain away, top 10. Somehow this is a top 10 Adidas jersey. I don't know. I guess the simple design there, once we zoom in, does definitely elevate it. The crossing gold neck here on the pattern. But I think of the Adidas ones that we've seen, it's not the coolest. Belgium away, also Adidas. This is not bad, though. I like the sort of back and forth gradients that are mixed in there, like some of the other ones. Okay, here's a classic Brazil look with the yellow shirt for sure. Argentina home. Ooh, chat. Adidas pulled up for these ones here. Okay, we'll give them a pass on the simple shoulder stripes as branding because they did actually elevate the actual shirt itself and giving kind of a unique design to the Australian colorways there. So job well done, but unfortunately back to Mexico. I guess they kind of elevated the pattern there as well too. So I don't know. They just had some countries where they were just like, I guess we used up all of our time designing the other ones. United States home at number 5. The Where's Waldo chat. Hey, is everybody's gonna make this comparison. I feel like, unfortunately, can a Where's Waldo be number 5? I'm not sure. That may seem like a little USA biased, but hey, we like to see it. Adidas with the Carousel home. Obviously a nice kind of light yellow shade that does actually seem pretty wearable for a yellow color there. But again, we only can score Adidas so many points. The France away jerseys, too simple to be number 3. I guess, or the top ones have to be the craziest designs or sort of the best sleek designs. Because again, the Japan away ones here also very, very sleek as well too. Very minimal off-white, different color pinstripes. So this is very cool as well. I will give them that. And number 1, Uruguay home, chat. Hey, is this a hoodie that he's got on back here? Is this like a Transformers t-shirt? What's going on? How is this number 1? Hey, This is like a 13-year-old superhero techwear shirt. Hey, shout out to Uruguay. But there's not a lot to separate the kits at the top of the order. I would say this one is probably honestly near the bottom, to be honest. Or at least this picture is as well too. This guy is like modeling a fake Halloween costume for like a Power Ranger. But Uruguay's wonderfully esoteric away kit just nudges it for us. Whoa. Hey, he's nudging it to the... Okay, Chad. Hey, it is what it is. This shirt is presented as a tribute to their history-making World Cup team of 1930. Hey, so this is like when the Steelers play in their ugly, ugly old-time jerseys, and it's like, we're paying homage to the old Steelers. It's like, I get it, but those just look terrible. I mean, it is with the Bumblebee jerseys. Here, let's see what we got here. Steelers B uniform is what we're looking here. I mean, yes, chat. Like, I don't think Pittsburgh ever wore these as well, too. throwback to the 1933 team. Is there any way we can have... Okay, Steelers 1933 uniform. Okay, I guess they did. They did wear these to some degree. Okay, we have a Madden image of it. We have this. Is this a real image from 1933? This can't be. Did we have color photography like this? I guess they had color in, like, Wizard of Oz, right? But that's, like, 39. So, I don't know. Did this image exist as a color photo in 1933? I don't know. But even this is actually, like, a better design than whatever we did. I don't know why they have the numbers, and it looks like... This is where, you know, it starts to get a little, like, what are we doing in modern times? It literally looks like they have the numbers... are supposed to represent, like, somebody drew the number on a page and then taped it on the front of their shirt, is literally what it looks like. Again, this kind of looks like, you know, a number on a bad jersey, but the other version is different. And this, you know, offset is more just like, you know, what's this crazy yellow and black pattern we have here? And they could have just had, like, you know, black pants would really help to, like, make the design a lot sleeker. It's why do we have tan pants is really the question. For, you know, I hate to bring those storylines back up. I'm not like, oh, you know, NFL players can't wear khaki pants. I'm not saying that, you know, hey, yo. I'm just saying that maybe when you have it with a yellow and black striped shirt, that would be something different. You know, hey, yo, obviously, you know, if Obama had worn the khaki suit unfashionably, maybe that's a whole different set of, that's just, you know, that's just an unfashionable president. That's something else. But obviously that was not the case. That was not the case. Honestly, it was, you know, one of the great looks, if you have to be honest. Not even if you have to be honest. I'm just saying if you were ranking looks, tan suit controversy. And obviously, hey, yo, I mean, chat, oh, man. Hey, yo, what a handsome guy, chat. Hey, yo, I hate to be, you know, so taken aback by, you know, a man in a khaki suit there for a second. Hey, yo, we're really going to have to watch Megan Fox in that Transformer movie to, you know, lock back in, or Transformer, or, you know, the Turtles movie, whichever one. Megan Fox is going to be on the TV screen to lock back in, but obviously, you know, what a presidential guy back in the day. Hey, yo, look at that. But, yeah, Hiddleston? What's Hiddleston doing here? Hey, yo, I guess just celebrities wearing tan suits is the article. So somehow Hiddleston gets credit for Obama wearing a tan suit. I don't know what. See, chat. Hey, yo, look at that. Big tech disconnecting us as we're, you know, complimenting the tan suit controversy. But just like, you know, the hand in the pocket, the sort of perfect other hand raised there, the book tucked under the arm, like, you know, the fact that he's, like, elevated up over the other guy as well too, you know, I mean, respectfully, but just in a sort of presidential way. The fact that he's, like, you know, higher up in the picture does give it that extra presidential vibe. He's got, like, a, you know, just a good natural smile going on as well. It's just, it's hilarious that it is just one of the best presidential pictures that, you know, is out there as well. Just really, you know, again, really pulled it off. Pause. But what are we saying for, you know, again, I guess back to, you know, this should have been the real tan pant controversy, chat, is when the Steelers wear these, or the Packers. Let's see, Packers. I don't know if 1933 is still the era, but they'll get the vibe. Yeah, these jerseys, chat. Hey, yo, tough luck. I guess maybe they kind of scaled back, but these helmets are bad. Hey, yo, the leather helmet is bad, chat. I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you. I like the creativity. I like the fact that we're, you know, again, the NFL is allowing teams to mix it up a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. This is tough. It just, you know, the only way it would have to be like a Notre Dame thing where you actually do the outside of the helmet in leather. Obviously, you would have to make the interiors of the helmet with the modern technology, but if you could somehow coat the outside, you know, I don't even know if coat's the right word, but if you could put leather on the helmet in 2026, then that would actually, then I would be okay with that, or at least, you know, appreciate the attempt. But just making it look like a leather helmet is pretty aesthetically interesting. So, okay, hey, yo, Curly Lambeau, these are interesting as well. Oh, Chad, imagine khaki pants, bright yellow shirt, and just a simple yellow. This is like the Pikachu outfits. Hey, yo, we call them the Green Bay Pikachus if they dress like this, but honestly, it might be an upgrade from the blue version here. Is this Packers uniform history, chat? Ayo. And I'm not always a big fan of the Packers yellow and green as well, too. Again, I gotta be honest, there's something about the soccer kits, they pull it off. I don't know maybe I've just been annoyed by the Green Bay fans in my life. Hey, shout out to the Green Bay fans in our life. But it's just, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. They were rooting for him a lot back in the day. I tell you what, there's just something annoying about people rooting for Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers. But it is what it is. I can only tell you the truth. But yeah, the Acme Packers one here is tough. So, again, I guess the point is, you can pay homage to your 30s, sporting programs, but most of the time the jerseys themselves, don't really work. I guess, I obviously shout out. But what are we saying here for the Packers jerseys? Oh, the creamsicles, chat, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though those are kind of cool as well. I'm trying to think, when were the Colts first a team? Can we go I don't think they were around in the 40s. Hey, can we just go Colts 40s uniform? Hey, yeah, I think the 50s would have been their first one, and they have been pretty consistent, the entire time. The Giants, the Jets, a lot of these teams have been pretty consistent, but a couple of those, really random ones have definitely jumped out. That is for sure. So I don't know, Chad, is that our World Cup primer for the tournament? I guess so. Do we have to do one more 82-0 team, chat? I guess you talked me into it. One more 82-0 lineup before we get out of here. We'll see how long of a run this has on the pod. Pause. But I tell you what, I don't know if it's making us more or less productive, because it's one of those things. Maybe I'm not just randomly doom scrolling as much. I wouldn't say I'm online with a purpose now. I'm building a roster. But it's maybe I'll do a lineup and then be okay, you gotta focus on something. So maybe it where I would have get lost in the doom scrolling sooner, if that makes sense. But hey, Portland in the 20s, chat, we're gonna have to respin immediately. Portland in the 20s has not been it. Shout out. I think they've been had some fun guys. Simons for Portland, some moments. Carmelo, shout out. And obviously Dame, some good names. But hey, nobody that we actually want on the court in a real way. But we'll redo the era, because shout out, Portland's a fun team. And we'll see who we get. Portland in the 80s. So we do miss out on Bill Walton. Caldwell Jones, not bad, though. Oh, we do get Clyde for a couple of years, though, as well. Obviously, the 90s were pretty successful. Clyde. We could reshuffle the team right away, because I don't know if 80s Clyde is going to get us to 82-0. But maybe it's impossible to go 82-0. I don't know. Probably not. I'm sure somebody's done it. We got somebody's won the lottery. You got to keep us playing. But we'll start Clyde here, and immediately have to fire back up a new roster. Oh, we get the Spurs! Let's go 70s Spurs, so we can take our guy Gervin. Shout out, guard forward Gervin, Drexler and Gervin. This is a fun athletic lineup. I feel like these guys could definitely play together. And Phoenix in the 10s. Ooh, we don't get Joe Johnson, unfortunately. We do get kind of a late-era Steve Nash and a late-era Amari as well, too. We kind of want those guys in the 2000s, to be honest. Goran Dragic for Phoenix. I think we do get Booker, though, as well. I know there is a couple of early developmental years there, but I think Booker might honestly be our pick. Again, shout out to Steve Nash, but I think 10 Steve Nash is not, again, we're talking maybe 2 or 3 years there for him in the 2010s in Phoenix. Jermaine O'Neal, 2010s Phoenix, Jermaine O'Neal. Hey, yo. Okay, Michael Beasley, Michael Redd. Also fun names to shout out, but again, I don't think they'll actually be making the team. Tyler Ulis. Vince Carter was on the Phoenix Suns. Man, he really was everywhere back in the day. But yeah, I think we're going to go with, who did we say? Booker will be our pick. Oh, and of course we can take Booker at point guard. Oh, so that does kind of work, again, from a real basketball standpoint, because he's not going to be, with all due respect, he'll be a good enough point guard with as good as this team is. Hey, it is what it is. But he'll be, and I guess we've never considered what these teams are playing against. Is it it's all time, right? So this team is probably playing against MJ at some point, but Booker can guard a lot of guys defensively and can play make, but there's going to be a switchability here and obviously a lethal scoring to this team. Oh, chat, Memphis in the 20s. We're going to have to reshuffle the team. It is what it is. Jaren Jackson and Ja. We do get a couple of good Ja seasons, but unfortunately we lost the guards, and I don't think Jaren Jackson's going to do it for us. Dallas in the 20s. Okay, we do get Luka, but I don't think we're going to be able to play Luka on this team, unfortunately. Oh, chat, that goes back to what we were saying earlier about them screwing us over once we lock in the lineup. So, and we lost our reshuffle, so we're going to have to take Anthony Davis. You know, oh, can we take Cooper Flagg and play him at power forward? Ooh, chat, only one season of Cooper Flagg, but let's see what we got here. We can! So we're going to take Cooper Flagg, because I think Cooper Flagg on the Mavs was better than Davis on the Mavs. And we love Davis. Davis is better for this lineup, maybe, but, you know, Cooper Flagg is fun as well, too. So now we go from oversized to undersized, somehow, with Cooper Flagg as our power forward. But it's still pretty talented. So let's see. The team that we get is... Oh, we're going to get Wilt. 70s Warriors. Can we get Wilt? No Wilt. Dang it, chat. Hey, yo. I thought we had unlocked our team. Okay, this team is not going to be that great. But it's going to be fun to root for. It's going to be a city legend. I don't know. We're taking over the Spurs, I guess, in this redraft. And we do get George Gervin. So this will be, a fun... Oh, Jojo White? Did win a Finals MVP at some point in his career. Yeah, Nate Thurman's going to have to be our pick. We don't even have to keep scrolling. It is what it is. 63 and 19. That's disrespectful to Nate Thurman, honestly. I do think this team could win 70 games. Hot take. Booker, Gervin, Clyde, Cooper Flagg. Obviously, he's only getting better than Nate Thurman. I mean, there's a version of this team that is, Cooper Flagg in a couple years where we're like, oh, man. How's that team only win 63 games? But, okay, you got me. One more. We got to end on a 70-win team, right? Phoenix in the 10s once again, chat. Hey, yo. Are we gonna we're gonna have to reuse the team spin. I don't know if the 10s are... Oh, there we go. That worked out great for us. Okay, we get Durant. We could take Westbrook, and we could take Harden as well, too. OKC in the 10s. Just for the fun of it. But no, we got to take Durant, and we get 3 different potential lineup options for Durant as well, too. Oh, chat, this is going great. We got LeBron and Durant. So we got Miami in the 10s. LeBron can once again play all 5 spots. We're going to put LeBron at center and try to... or do we put him at shooting guard and try to get MJ, chat? Let's put LeBron at shooting guard and try to get MJ. Can we play LeBron at point... Oh, we can play KD at small forward. Okay, so let's try to bulk up our... Oh, man. Okay, yeah, let's try to bulk up our backcourt because... We want MJ is really what we want. So let's see what we can get here. We've got Toronto in the 20s. Okay, do we get Kawhi? Oh, we don't get Kawhi. Okay, and we're gonna have to reshuffle the era. Okay, chat. So this is setting us up for Vince Carter. This is setting us up for Vince Carter or T-Mac, best case scenario. Grady Dick, potentially, I guess, is an option. Grady Dick with LeBron and Kevin Durant would be pretty fun. But pause. But I guess we only have the era reshuffle left. So let's do that here and see what we get. Toronto in the 90s. Okay, I don't know if we're going to get the peak Vince Carter era. I don't know exactly the years lineup there. Jimmy King, I think, Fab Five. But maybe get some T-Mac years as well, too. T-Mac, yeah, where's Vince Carter at? And we do get Vince Carter. So we can play him at shooting guard, small forward, or power forward. So let's move LeBron to point guard, have Vince Carter as our shooting guard. Because I think this is the best that we're going to do out of this lineup. Again, I don't think T-Mac was his best on the Raptors. He was still finding his way. And now, we're setting ourselves up for power. If we need power forward and center, if that's like what we actually need, but we don't actually need them because we can play LeBron and Durant here. So I think we can still get MJ. Though we don't have any of our respin, so it's just going to have to give us 90s Bulls. Minnesota in the 10s. Ooh, chat. Okay, we do get Towns. Obviously, that's aging better, seeing as how this finals is going. We don't get the best of Anthony Edwards. We don't get Anthony Edwards at all, I guess. Okay, so we just draw Towns. I guess is essentially what they get us. Okay, that's not bad. We have to play as... Okay, so we're locking LeBron in at point guard, I guess, is not the worst case scenario. I guess, do we have Durant at small forward is pretty good. I say if we accidentally had him at shooting guard, now we're PJ Carlissimo. But Towns is our power forward is not bad. So let's play him there. Though, again, maybe we want, I feel like some of the better all-time players are center only. So let's try to trick it and see if we can get a center here in a great team. But if it's going to just give us a mid-power forward just automatically, I don't know if I'm overthinking the game. Now we're trying to outsmart the computer chat while it's listening to us. It's not going to happen. Houston in the 60s. Okay. There we go. It tanked us at some point. It is what it is. Do we even have a center? Oh, we have Elvin Hayes. And he can play power forward. Oh, my bad, Chad. Disrespected Elvin Hayes there for a second. Okay, Elvin Hayes is our center. Cat's our power forward. Durant is... honestly, Cat might be our small forward. He wants to take threes. Durant's our power forward. LeBron's our point guard. Vince Carter's our shooting guard. So So this team with LeBron and Durant alone has to win 70 games. But, I mean, come on. We got enough talent on here. What are we doing? 73-9. Oh, chat, we have to end on this. But now it's like, oh, now we know how to play. Pause. So now we're going to get a good team. I guess, I mean, we have to end on the 73-9, don't we? We have to end on a win. Elvin Hayes really did help us there. Elvin Hayes, Karl Towns, LeBron, and Durant, and Vince Carter. I don't know if we handled our spins the right way, but, you know, I feel like 73-9 is pretty great. Obviously, we tie the all-time record, but, you know, can we do better than LeBron and Durant in the 2010s? I don't know. So, you know, once the Spurs go down 20 and MSG in the second half, we'll, I guess, build a couple more lineups in the next game. It is what it is. But, yeah, you know, finals, World Cup this week. Lock into the YouTube. You know, we'll be here live. Probably having technical difficulties while the Spurs are losing. But maybe celebrating the New York rise to, you know, New York rise to basketball prominence again as well, too. So, you know, we'll be back tomorrow watching the game. You know, painfully here on the YouTube. You can follow the podcast feeds. You can hit us up, Rem and Sam Pod, on Instagram as well, too. If you want to message us over there, you know, message us your best lineups. I guess we can go through lineups as well, too. You know, 82-0 team. If anybody actually has gotten an 82-0 team, you know, we would like to hear about that. So, you know, we would like the motivation to know it is possible, for sure. But, yeah, otherwise, you know, we'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the Monday work day, chat. Hey, we're looking forward to it just as much as you are. But we'll be rejoined here on the Rem and Sam YouTube. You know, hey, yo, shaking off a Monday, watching the finals, letting the New York fans have a good time. So, you know, pause. Hey, yo, it is what it is. We'll be back. You know, go Spurs, go regardless, chat. We'll be here celebrating. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.